Welcome to the Fantasy Audiobook. Age of Gods. I log into the reincarnation space in the Gods domain. Chapter 21. You told me such an important thing, aren't you afraid that I will harm you? SSS level hidden mission. If Yi Tian knew how to trigger it, it would definitely not be the turn of Miss Yan Ling. You know, there is only one SSS level super god evaluation in a copy. So Yi Tian didn't understand why this obviously senior reincarnation in front of him trusted him so much, just because he was a heavenly emperor with super god evaluation. Because you are handsome. Faced with the question, Miss Yan Ling blurted out. Yi Tian. Although Yi Tian agreed with her, he didn't believe this reason at all. Hee, just kidding. Miss Yan Ling chuckled and said with a smile, I have more than one talent, one of which is a bit special. I can sense the kindness and malice of other reincarnations, as well as my compatibility. Ah, your talent is really good. Yi Tian immediately understood. Did she come to him as soon as she saw him? Knowing that he had no ill will towards her from beginning to end. And if the compatibility is compatible, it proves that both parties are the kind of people who are easy to have a good impression of each other. Sister, I'm not a good person. In the place where you were born, many people call me a witch. Miss Yan Ling said with self-mockery. And then, this has nothing to do with your SSS level mission. Yi Tian said bluntly. Quote. Miss Yan Ling rolled her eyes at Yi Tian with resentment. Where is the compatibility? This man is straighter than steel. A girl is willing to confide her past to the opposite gender. What does it mean? Don't you know how to appreciate it? Alas. After being stunned for a long time, seeing that Yi Tian was still so unromantic, Miss Yan Ling sighed helplessly and said, there are 3 real reasons. First, because of my talent, I feel that you are kind and trustworthy, and you are so powerful that I guess you will not bother to attack me, although I am quite looking forward to it, hee. This made Yi Tian roll his eyes. Seeing that her teasing was successful, Miss Yan Ling was a little proud, and then said solemnly. Second, although SSS level hidden tasks are extremely rare, there must be a few people who have encountered SSS level hidden tasks in the reincarnation space for so many years, but no one has completed them. I don't want to die. Third, I have a hunch that you can complete it, and even without this task, you can get an SSS level evaluation. After listening to her explanation, Yi Tian understood. SSS level hidden tasks, with her strength, are tantamount to death. No one has completed SSS level hidden tasks in the reincarnation space for so many years. The 2 most important points are that she does not know the information, and her strength does not match the task. The samsara space has been developing for so many years, and there are many strong people, including gods and demons. However, there are limits to strength in dungeons. When the strength can complete the SSS level task of a dungeon, it is very likely that you can no longer enter that dungeon. But Yi Tian knows the information. As long as the strength matches the task, the SSS level information will be easily obtained. Therefore, if this Miss Yan Ling does not share this SSS level hidden task with him, Yi Tian is indeed likely to reach the SSS level evaluation in the 9-tailed rebellion. By then, she will have nothing to do. Women's intuition, it's really unreasonable. Yi Tian nodded slightly, and in his heart he recognized this Miss Yan Ling. It's not that he likes her. But this woman is bold and careful, gifted, and seems to have a special taste for him. She dares to love and hate in her personality, and is very straightforward. Most importantly, Yi Tian thinks that she dares to admit that she has an SSS level hidden task, so there must be a trick. The samsara space can resurrect people. She dared to gamble with her life, there must be a force behind her. Emperor Tian, you don't have your own power, right? At this time, Miss Yan Ling seemed to have guessed Yi Tian's thoughts and said with a smile. You want to win me over? Yi Tian said. Hee, you are worthy of being the Emperor Tian. In fact, it can't be said that you are winning me over. I just want to cooperate with you on behalf of our organization. Cooperation in the reincarnation space is very important, Miss Yan Ling said meaningfully. Is this SSS level hidden task a sign of sincerity for cooperation? Yi Tian said with a smile. Smart people are powerful and understand everything at once, Miss Yan Ling said with a burning gaze. However, I refuse. Yi Tian shook his head and said decisively. Why? Miss Yan Ling was a little unbelievable. You said that I can get an SSS level rating by myself. I have enough confidence in myself. Yi Tian said leisurely. Miss Yanling was a little confused. She didn't expect the result to be like this. But cooperation is impossible. If you and your forces are willing to submit to me, I can consider accepting you. Yi Tian turned around and tried to win them over. It just so happened that he needed to build his own forces and create the Samsara God clan. In this case, you should join us. Our legion, Liusha, respects the strong. Unless your strength exceeds that of our queen, this force will be yours. Miss Yanling still said with a cunning look in her eyes. Liusha. Yi Tian frowned slightly. Could it be that this legion made its fortune in the Moon or Tianxingjuj dungeons? No wonder this Miss Yanling looks and dresses a bit like Yanling Ji, and her attributes are exactly the same, but her strength is much stronger than Yanling Ji. Maybe there is some connection between the two. But the strong are respected, that's easy to deal with. Yi Tian is still very confident in his strength. But he won't agree now. This woman is still a little naive to trick him. Although he doesn't know what realm the Queen of Liusha is in, this woman is very confident. Maybe she is a veteran force in the reincarnation space. If it is a god-demon level enemy, he can suppress it with the heavenly lock, but if it is an SS level strongman without divinity, what about the SSS level strongman? Yi Tian will not be fooled. Let's talk about this later. Now I give you two choices. I will help you complete the hidden task, but I want 90% of the reward. For the second choice, you can ask for your own luck. Yi Tian put forward his own conditions. You are really a vampire. Miss Yanling Ji was a little angry. She actually wanted a 90% reward. But the initiative was on Yi Tian's side, and she had no choice. She would either lose the 10% reward or watch the mission fail. Forget it. Yi Tian didn't have time to deal with her and turned away. Okay, I agree, but I have to sign a contract. Yanling Ji had no choice but to agree, but for the sake of caution, she still needed to sign a reincarnation contract. Okay, you pay for the contract points. Yi Tian nodded and said. Stingy guy. Miss Yanling rolled her eyes at Yi Tian with resentment, but she didn't refuse. In this way, the two parties signed a contract to complete the PY transaction, and then obtained the content of the SSS hidden task. No wonder she wants to find someone to cooperate with. For this task, knowing the intelligence is useless. You also need the strength of an S-level reincarnationist and the ability to limit space. Yi Tian said secretly. Emperor Tian, this task won't be difficult for you. Miss Yanling leaned in front of Yi Tian's face, blinking her eyes, looking a little nervous. If even Yi Tian couldn't complete this task, it would be a pity. Why is she back? Yi Tian was about to reply, but suddenly saw a familiar fierce figure in front of him. Yi Tian, good, I didn't expect you to be here looking for flowers and asking willows instead of the clan land, and it's an Uchiha woman. An unexpected person appeared. Wow, Emperor Tian, who is this woman? When Miss Yanling turned around and saw the woman who called Yi Tian, she was startled. So fierce, super fierce, baring teeth and claws. She thought she was fierce enough, but compared with that woman, she was really a small witch meeting a big witch. Tsunade, why are you back? Yi Tian was a little surprised. Tsunade wrote a letter to him in the morning, and how could she rush back to Konoha in the afternoon? Yes, the fierce woman in front of him was Tsunade, one of the 3 ninjas of Konoha. A strange woman who relied on medical ninjutsu to dominate the ninja world. Although Tsunade's temper was a bit explosive, her appearance was really impeccable, and her posture was unparalleled, making Miss Yanling, a peerless beauty, ashamed. Why can't I come back? I'm not a traitor. Besides, if I don't come back, I'm afraid you won't know how to die. Tsunade came over angrily and pulled Miss Yanling away, feeling a bit protective of her child. Miss Yanling felt Tsunade's hostility. It was obvious that Tsunade was using her actions to show, don't try to steal my man. I'm so angry. If I can't beat her. Miss Yanling gnashed her teeth, mainly because her strong perception detected Tsunade's terrifying chakra. Moreover, Tsunade's speed was not clear under her Sharingan, which showed how terrifying Tsunade's strength was. Cage level. Miss Yanling was shocked. Her strength was also outstanding among the elite Jonin. She was stronger than Kakashi in normal time period. The only one who could be stronger than her was Cage Level. Cage Level, Tsunade, is she the Konoha princess among the 3 Konoha ninjas? It was just that the reincarnation space also touched some basic information of the Naruto copy, and Miss Yanling quickly associated Tsunade's identity. The little brat of the Uchiha family, even I don't recognize her. Tsunade curled her lips slightly. She had only left Konoha for a few years, and the descendants of the Uchiha family, the old rival of the Senju clan, didn't recognize her. It was really a cold tea after people left. Her situation is a bit special. I'll explain it later. Come back to the clan with me first. Yi Tian pulled Tsunade to his side and said that he didn't want to make a big deal now. Konoha village didn't have anything to worry about, but it might attract the attention of other reincarnations. There must be many reincarnations who followed him into the dungeon. There must be more than 2 reincarnations in Konoha village. Humph, you defend her so much. Don't forget which family she is from. Tsunade doesn't like the Uchiha clan. After all, her grandfather died with Uchiha Madara. How could she have a good face when seeing the people of the Uchiha clan? Besides, the Uchiha clan is really annoying, too arrogant, and has never been integrated into the village. The popularity of Uchiha is really bad. Yi Tian thinks Tsunade is not the kind of narrow-minded person. Well, anyone with eyes can see it, but this is not the point. The point is her reaction to the Uchiha, which can also reflect the attitude of other Konoha big families. Well, Emperor Tien, I'm leaving first. Remember our agreement. At this time, Miss Yanling saw that more and more people were watching the excitement around her, and this was the Uchiha clan's security station, and even the clan leader Uchiha Fugaku was alarmed. Anyway, the contract with Yi Tian has been reached, and Yi Tian also knows the content of the mission. Just notify her when the action starts. Okay, Yi Tian nodded, and then took Tsunade, who was hesitant to speak, away. After Yi Tian and Tsunade left, the people around did not disperse, but talked about it. Wow, that's Tsunade-sama. Tsunade-sama is back, and is led away by a pretty boy. How is it possible? What pretty boy? You are an idiot. That's Master Tien, also from the Senju clan. I see, but even so, I'm still envious. Yeah, I'm so envious. I don't even crave power anymore. Then what do you crave? Well, taste it yourself. Senju clan land. Tell me, what is your relationship with that woman? After returning to the manor, Tsunade let go of Yi Tian's hand and asked solemnly. Not even friends, Yi Tian said directly. You are not friends, but you are making eyes at each other. Are you in a trading relationship? Tsunade's eyes were strange, as if Yi Tian had learned bad things. To some extent, Tsunade was right. But Yi Tian would not admit it, asking for trouble. Why did you come back suddenly? Didn't you just write to me this morning? Yi Tian changed the subject. HMPH. Tsunade looked at Yi Tian deeply, and then said, I didn't come back because I was worried about you, but I was worried about Konoha. Recently, the ninja world has also received a lot of news. Really? Yi Tian said with a smile. No. Otherwise, Tsunade's eyes flickered. Yi Tian, who was familiar with the plot, knew very well that if Tsunade was not persuaded by Naruto's persuasion in the future, she would never return to Konoha. There is only one possibility for her to come back, that is, there are still people she can't let go of. Even if she wrote a letter, she still felt uneasy and was afraid that the high-level officials of Konoha would take advantage of the chaos to attack her, so she came back in person. You should know that Tsunade's younger brother, Nawaki, was killed by his own people, and his internal organs were hollowed out. Moreover, it happened right under Orochimaru's nose. Konoha's Pot King Danzo must not escape this matter. There were only a few people who studied the cells of the first generation of Hokage in the original work. At that time, Orochimaru had not yet turned evil, and the time of Uchiha Madara and Obito did not match. So there was only one truth, Pot King Danzo. Unfortunately, Yi Tian knew it, but Tsunade didn't. Although Tsunade had doubts, she had no evidence. I will seek justice for you. Yi Tian was still a little touched when he saw Tsunade rushing back for him. Although the relationship between him and Tsunade was fabricated by the reincarnation space, this memory in his mind was extremely real. Since Tsunade is willing to treat him as a relative, he will help her get justice. It seems that he originally planned to slaughter the high-ranking officials of Konoha. Now he has achieved 3 goals at once. And if Tsunade is willing to follow him, he has a way to turn her into his god's familiar, that is, the messenger of the gods. Paying a certain amount of reincarnation points should be able to take her out of the copy world. What justice? Do you know something? Tsunade frowned slightly. She felt that Yi Tian was a little different from before, but she couldn't tell where the difference was. You will know when the time comes, Yi Tian said in suspense. Mysterious, but don't go out recently. After the matter is over, you and I will leave Konoha together. Tsunade looked serious and said in a nervous tone. She was a little afraid that Yi Tian would refuse. Leave together? Are you serious? Don't regret it. Yi Tian said with a smile. Why should I regret it? Just agree to it. Konoha has long ceased to belong to our Senju clan. Tsunade didn't know the deep meaning of Yi Tian's words, but she felt relieved. Staying away from Konoha means staying away from power disputes, and at the same time, staying away from that girl from the Uchiha clan. Seeing Tsunade's appearance of being on a pirate ship without knowing it, Yi Tian smiled and said, just don't regret it, and it just so happens that I am planning to practice ninjutsu this month. Tsunade knows a lot of ninjutsu secrets, and even some forbidden techniques. These advanced ninjutsu have not been included in the sealed book. You finally want to learn ninjutsu, that's great, I can teach you. Tsunade patted her chest and promised. Teaching a beginner ninjutsu is not easy for her, a dignified Sanin. You teach me, are you sure? Yi Tian smiled mysteriously, hoping that Tsunade would not be hit in the next month. Time flies, and in the blink of an eye, a month has passed. Super strength fist. Super strength fist. Boom. A huge explosion sounded from the Senju clan's manor, shaking the surrounding ninjutsu barrier. After the thick smoke, 2 figures flashed out. Hoo-hoo, are you a monster? Tsunade wiped the sweat from her forehead and complained with a numb look in her eyes. Opposite her, Yi Tian patted the dust on her shoulders leisurely, naturally and freely. Thank you for admitting it. I didn't let you, you monster, I even doubt whether you have awakened the wood release. Tsunade always felt like seeing her grandfather Senju Hashirama when she faced Yi Tian. Whether it was Yi Tian's strength or the kind of intimacy in her blood, they were very similar. And the most important thing is that in 1 month, she has practiced all the ninjutsu she knows and some of the ninjutsu she doesn't know. She is simply a monster. Wood release. Theoretically, I can control it with my sage body and the blood of the Senju clan, but Tsunade doesn't know wood release either, so she can only learn it from the Book of Seals. Yi Tian thought to himself. Get the Book of Seals tonight. And that SSS level hidden mission. After preparing for so long, it's finally time to harvest the fruits. What are you thinking about? Tsunade came to Yi Tian, straightened his collar for him, and asked. Thinking about tonight, Yi Tian said. In the past month, his relationship with Tsunade has become better and better, and now there is no need to hide such things from her. Tonight, do you mean Kushina will give birth tonight? Although Tsunade didn't know how Yi Tian knew the exact time, she believed that Yi Tian didn't need to lie to her about such things. As the strongest medical ninja, she also knew that Uzumaki Kushina would definitely give birth in the next few days. The 3rd-generation old man came to me some time ago and asked me to help take care of her if there was an accident. Tsunade's face was a little complicated when she thought of this. He can command people, but unfortunately this matter is beyond his control, and you can't help. Yi Tian said disdainfully. What do you know? Tsunade asked curiously. It doesn't matter, we are all leaving anyway. Yi Tian said. In this month, he also deliberately went to find Miss Yanling, and learned from her the way to take the characters from the copy world away, but the conditions were harsh and the price was a bit high, so few people did it. But it was not a difficult thing for Yi Tian. And that little price was a big profit compared to Tsunade. Yeah, Tsunade nodded. If it was when she just came back, she would definitely ask about the root cause. Now she is ready to fly away with Yi Tian, and she doesn't want to care about the mess in Konoha. Besides, it's just that she still retains some feelings for her hometown in her heart. Tsunade thought for a moment and said, what will happen to Konoha? They will be seriously injured. They will have to bear the consequences of their own sins. Besides, they have to thank me. Those dying ninjas will not die in vain. Yi Tian said. As long as he gets the Book of Seals, he can perform the impure world reincarnation, and the ninjas who died in the Nine Tails Rebellion can become his divine race and fight for him. Giving them a second life and the possibility of transcending mortals, shouldn't they be grateful? Alas, they can only wish for the best. Tsunade sighed slightly. Since Yi Tian said so, she couldn't say anything more. Besides, Yi Tian had already told her about Danzo's plan to attack Yi Tian. They were so blatant and lawless in Konoha. She was really chilled by the corruption of Konoha's high-level officials. As for what Yi Tian would do to Danzo and his people before leaving, she also guessed it. She knew better than anyone how strong Yi Tian was now. Old man, I can't help you this time. Tsunade leaned against someone and said silently in her heart. Time flows, the sun sets in the west, and night falls. Yi Tian quietly waits for the show to begin. Bang! Suddenly, an evil chakra full of hatred bursts out, shaking the entire Konoha ninja village. The Nine Tails riots, and at this moment, Yi Tian finally received the main task given to him by the reincarnation space. Ding! Release the main task. It seems that Uchiha Obito succeeded. Yi Tian said lightly. Obito, Minato's student. Tsunade on the side was also awakened by the Nine Tails riot, but she didn't expect that the mastermind behind it was Uchiha Obito. Sure enough, the Uchiha clan likes to make trouble. It's impossible for Uchiha Obito alone to kill the Nine Tails. Yi Tian sneered. Guard against day and night, but it's hard to guard against thieves at home. With the Konoha Pot King group hiding, the production location of Uzumaki Shinkuna has long been known to Uchiha Obito. Although Uchiha Obito is powerful, he would not have succeeded so easily without the secret cooperation of the Pot King Danzo. It's a very simple logic. When Minato Namikaze was there, Konoha didn't defend against Uchiha Obito. Later, Naruto became the Jinchuriki. Konoha didn't worry about Naruto being captured for more than 10 years, and chose to let him go. Does this look like a decision made after experiencing the Nine Tails Rebellion? Are you really not afraid of the mastermind coming again? You mean Danzo and the others? Tsunade gritted her teeth. Her brother's death may be related to this Danzo. Who else can it be besides him? I said I would seek justice for you. Now is the time. Yi Tian was murderous. Jesus couldn't save Danzo tonight. Is there anything I can do? Tsunade is not a vase. Her strength is the strongest in Konoha now, except for the 4th and 3rd generations. Go to the Uchiha clan to pick up the girl who cooperated with me that day, and then meet me at the guard post of the sealed book. That little sister Yanling cannot die, and Yi Tian cannot trigger the hidden mission. If she dies, the mission will be gone, and Tsunade can protect and monitor her. After Yi Tian finished speaking, he used the Flying Thunder God technique and disappeared in the manor. Flying Thunder God. It was the first time Tsunade saw Yi Tian use the Flying Thunder God. She didn't expect Yi Tian to be so powerful that he even controlled the technique of the second grandfather. It seems that the Senju clan is going to be glorious again. Thinking about it, she is still a little excited. Uchiha clan land. Emperor Tien, you didn't forget me. Miss Yanling was ordered by the clan leader to return to the clan land as soon as the Nine Tails rioted. Why didn't the Uchiha clan, who controlled the Konoha Security Bureau, go out to help, but let all the clan members return home to martial law as soon as possible? It really makes people wonder. The nine-tailed monster outside that emits terrifying red energy has at least S+ combat power, right? Can the Emperor of Heaven deal with it? If it can be subdued, it will probably be rated at least S level. It's a pity that I can't go out to fight, although I'll just be cannon fodder. Just when Miss Yanling was thinking about it, Yi Tian's figure flashed. Emperor of Heaven. Miss Yanling was surprised. She knew that the Emperor of Heaven would not give up this SSS hidden mission easily. This is an extremely precious SSS level hidden mission, although she didn't even mention the content of the mission. I'm here to let you know. Follow Tsunade later. As for the orders of the Uchiha clan, don't worry about it in the future. Yi Tian said lightly. Well, will I be regarded as a traitor to this family? Miss Yanling felt that the Uchiha clan had high potential and high status, so she didn't want to give up. Don't even mention leaving Uchiha, even if you become a rebel, it doesn't matter. The Uchiha clan will be destroyed sooner or later, unless you can fight Konoha alone. Yi Tian said. Hiss. Miss Yan Ling took a breath, then nodded obediently. I understand, everything is up to you. Yes. After saying that, Yi Tian launched Flying Thunder God again. When the figure flashed again, it had already landed above the base where Jen was hiding. Danzo, your doomsday has come. Root base. In the dark base hidden in the sewers of Konoha, Danzo was sitting and listening to the reports of his ninjas. Danzo, the fourth Hokage seems to be held back by a mysterious enemy. The ninjas in the village are trying their best to hold back the Nine Tails. The battle is very fierce. The third Hokage is on his way. A sensing Jonin of the root said the latest intelligence. At the same time, he was deeply puzzled. Why did Danzo summon all his subordinates back when Konoha was in great trouble? They fought together with the third Hokage. Even the Nine Tails could be subdued. However, Danzo was not moved at all. He just asked calmly, all of our people are back, right? Except for those who have missions outside the village, all others are back. The subordinate replied. Danzo nodded and sneered in his heart, that's good. When the fourth Hokage dies, the position of Hokage will be his. As for the third Hokage, it would be better if he died with the fourth Hokage. However, the old fox third Hokage would not die easily. Hokage, this position will be mine sooner or later. Only I can lead Konoha to the top. Really, it's a pity that you don't have this opportunity. A voice that seemed to come from the soul resounded throughout the sewer. Huh, who is it? Danzo was so scared that he stood up from his seat and felt a creepy shudder. But the voice did not respond to him, but shouted coldly. Mine Shinra Tensai. Above the root base, Yi Tian put his palms together, condensed chakra and telekinesis, and then suddenly pushed his palms apart, bursting out a devastating chakra telekinesis wave. Boom! In an instant, the telekinesis wave that destroyed everything destroyed the entire sewer base, crushing the surface of the ground, turning it into a huge ruin hundreds of meters deep. Danzo and his subordinates in the sewer were crushed before they could even scream. Ding! Killed 1738 Konoha ninjas, and obtained reincarnation points, 189,550. Current reincarnation points, 252,550. Very good. The huge harvest made Yi Tian feel that a month of hard training was worth it. This move, Shinra Tensai, was completely his own ninjutsu, and its destructive power reached the level of S-level ninjutsu, but the difficulty of practicing was not high. It was simply to use the power of thought to condense the huge chakra in the body at one point, and then release it. As long as you have a sage body, a strong soul power, and superpowers, you can learn it in a month. The difficulty is indeed not high for Yi Tian. After cleaning up the root base, Yi Tian did not leave, but said coldly, Danzo, don't play dead, come out. Danzo at this time had not yet obtained Uchiha Shisui's Mangekyo Sharingan, but he must have the Uchiha clan's Sharingan in his hand. With the Sharingan, the Uchiha clan's ultimate eye technique, Izanagi. At the moment of activation, it can record its own state, and at the cost of losing the light of one Sharingan, distort the unfavorable state, including death. To put it simply, it is a rollback, and the price is a Sharingan. As expected, after being discovered by Yi Tian, Danzo jumped out of the ruins and fired a flare. Then he stared at Yi Tian angrily and roared, Senju Yi Tian, it's you, you destroyed my base, I will never coexist with you. Irreconcilable, it was a month ago, you don't still hope to survive now. Yi Tian sneered, it's you, you killed my previous subordinates. Danzo was shocked. It turned out that the person who threatened to kill him a month ago was Yi Tian. But he never thought that the Senju clan could produce such an invincible genius, whose strength was so strong that he killed all his subordinates in one move. At the same time, he also has the ability to stand proudly in the void like a god. The ninja god Senju Hashirama was no more than this at Yi Tian's age. You hid really well, Senju Yi Tian. Danzo's face was extremely gloomy, thinking about how to kill Yi Tian. This boy must not be left alive, otherwise he would be a big trouble for Konoha. He became Hokage. Swish, 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 swish. At this time, a group of figures quickly approached Danzo. Danzo was overjoyed when he saw them, because they were all his allies. Danzo, are you okay? Senju Yitian, why is he here too? What happened to Danzo? The elders of Konoha, Xiaochun, Menyan and others, as well as their family ninjas, rushed to the ruins and were shocked. Yitian sneered at this. At this moment, the Nine Tails was still wreaking havoc outside the village. As an elder of Konoha, he did not bring his family ninjas to support, but rescued Danzo as soon as the root base was destroyed. It's really funny. It was him, he attacked Konoha. I suspect the Nine Tails riot was also his conspiracy. Danzo immediately washed the pot, threw all the dirty water on Yitian, labeled Yitian a traitor, and then stood on the moral high ground and used the power of Konoha to strangle him. Ha ha ha, you were really funny, Danzo. Yitian laughed angrily. He had never seen such a shameless person. He deserves to be the king of Konoha. He had a share in all the dirty things of Konoha, but when he was blaming others, he did not drag his feet and only added a sentence, everything I did was for Konoha. He was so double-standard. Danzo, you must die today, Flying Thunder God Super Strength Fist. Yitian sneered, and appeared behind Danzo with a space jump. Flying Thunder God. Danzo's pupils shrank, and his head was blown away by Yitian's punch. Danzo, Xiaochun, Menyan and others didn't have time to make a move, and Danzo died in front of them. This is the horror of the Flying Thunder God technique. Even if they knew that the other party's target was Danzo, they were powerless and couldn't keep up with the speed. Even Yitian killed someone and stood there swaggeringly, not afraid of their siege, but now they dared not act rashly, for fear that Yitian's next target would be one of them. Space-time ninjutsu is so perverted. During the Third Ninja World War, ninjas from the 4 major nations could abandon their missions when they met Minato Namikaze without being punished. At that time, Kaharu, Menyan and other Konoha elders were still very proud. Now, when this feeling happened to them, they knew how uncomfortable it was. Why do you look so ugly? Do you regret it now? Do you wish Minato Namikaze would come to save you? Yitian mocked mercilessly. Minato Namikaze, who was fighting for Konoha, was their only hope, but unfortunately he was going to be killed by these wastes fighting for power and profit. Kaharu, Menyan, don't listen to him, let everyone go together, I don't believe his chakra is infinite. At this time, Danzo, who was resurrected again using Izanagi, stood far behind the ruins and shouted. After that, Danzo performed the instant body technique and turned around and ran. Kaharu, Menyan and many ninjas who rescued Danzo were stunned. Danzo was not dead, his head was blown off, and what surprised them the most was Danzo's shamelessness. He actually let them fight to the death, but he ran away. Don't worry, none of you can escape. Yitian smiled coldly and put his palms together again. Mind Shinra Tensai. No, Xiaochun, Menyan and others felt the terrifying chakra that Yitian was condensing, and they all fled in an instant, but Yitian blocked their retreat with his mind power. Boom boom boom. A huge mushroom cloud opened up twice on the ruins. Feeling the vibration of the battlefield behind him, Danzo, who was running away at a high speed, looked back and was immediately ashamed. He gritted his teeth and said, I will avenge you, Senju Yitian, I will never let you go, I must dig out all your internal organs. Really, I want to see how you plan to not let me go. The empty figure flashed, and Yitian knocked Danzo down with a lightning whip kick in front of him, and then pinched Danzo's neck. What a terrifying power! Yitian's demigod body is stronger than the tailed beast. Danzo was pinched and couldn't break free. Now Yitian only needs to use a little force to break his neck. Izanagi. Danzo knew that he was going to die again, and immediately wanted to activate the Izanagi on his arm, but he didn't expect a severe pain in his arm. Looking down, he saw that the remaining few Sharingan on his arm had all been dug out. When Danzo was shocked. Just before I hit your head off, I used an illusion to block your pain. Yitian joked. No, don't kill me, why do you have to kill me? If you kill me, Konoha will also be seriously injured. Danzo begged for mercy in order to survive. Ha ha ha, I have many reasons to kill you. Let's not talk about Rope Tree. Just for the main mission, you have to die, you are the source of all evil in Konoha. Yitian said indifferently. Main Mission 1S, SS Level Darkness of Konoha, eliminate the source of all evil in Konoha, reward, depends on the completion of the mission. Main Mission 2S, SSS level, quell the Nine Tails Rebellion. Reward, depends on the completion of the mission. The first mission, other reincarnations don't know, but Yitian doesn't know, the source of all evil in Konoha is the root of decay in Danzo. Danzo can't survive just for this mission. Whether there is a mission or not, Yitian will kill him. Before his death, he was able to earn Yitian a main quest reward of at least S level, so Danzo died a worthy death. Goodbye, Danzo. No, you can't kill me, ah. Yitian ignored Danzo's pleas for mercy, crushed Danzo's neck with one hand, and then crushed his body with telekinesis. Ding. The main task 1 is completed, the task evaluation is SS level, the reward has been issued, and you can collect it. Done. Yitian clapped his hands, but did not collect the reward immediately. But he focused on the main task 2, quelling the Nine Tails Rebellion, SSS level. Looking at this main task, Yitian knew that if there were no hidden tasks, he could also get an SSS rating today. But to quell the Nine Tails Rebellion, if you want to get an SSS level, you must do it to perfection, such as saving the Namikaze Minato couple, such as making sure that no Konoha ninja dies. But, saving the Namikaze Minato couple is acceptable to Yitian, but being Konoha's nanny and making sure that no one dies, haha, it is impossible in this life. Yitian didn't have much good feelings for Konoha. Not to mention that not long ago, the Konoha Elders Council condoned Danzo to attack Yitian. If it was a weaker samsara, the end would definitely be Danzo's sliced and studied. New and old hatreds are hard to settle. Even if Danzo and Koharuman, the Konoha Elders, died, Yitian would not help Konoha. Although the second main task gave up the SSS rating, the SSS rating has long been in Yitian's pocket. SSS level hidden task. Catch the mastermind behind the Nine Tails Rebellion and make the identity of the mastermind public. This is a task that Miss Yanling accidentally encountered the masked man Uchiha Obito near the Uchiha clan, thus triggering. At that time, it was because she triggered the task that she knew that there was a big boss behind the scenes near the family. It is estimated that Uchiha Obito was very close to her at that time, but he was hiding in the Kamui space. She couldn't see it, and it was also her good luck. If she saw Obito, he would probably disappear on the spot. This SSS level hidden mission is very difficult for others. Without spatial talent, even an SS level reincarnation may not be able to catch Obito. Moreover, Obito claims to be Uchiha Madara, and the reincarnation has never seen Uchiha Madara. Once the reincarnation believes in Uchiha Obito's lies, then unfortunately, the mission will be directly judged as a failure. Yes, SSS hidden missions all have traps. It tells the reincarnation that this mission is SSS level at the beginning, letting the reincarnation know the value of this hidden mission in advance, but the reincarnation must complete it perfectly. If there is a little mistake, it will be judged as a failure. So many times, SSS hidden missions are actually a death warrant. But for Yitian, it is not difficult. Let's complete this SSS hidden mission first, and don't let Obito run first. Yitian glanced at Minato Namikaze, who had already started a battle with the Nine Tails outside Konoha village, knowing that Obito had already lost to the fourth generation at this time, and it was the best time to capture Obito. Outside the Konoha ninja village, in the endless jungle, Uchiha Obito covered his broken arm, watching the battle between Namikaze Minato and the Nine Tails, and said grimly, "Fourth generation, don't think you won, there will be as many opportunities as you want in the future. Really, it's a pity that you don't have that chance anymore, Uchiha Obito." The space twisted, and Yitian appeared directly from behind Obito. "It's you, from the Senju clan." Uchiha Obito was shocked, not only shocked that Yitian knew time and space ninjutsu, but also shocked that Yitian in front of him knew his true identity. "No, I'm Uchiha Madara." "Uchiha Madara, do you want to scare me with him, a dead old thing? Do you want me to revive him and confront you?" Yitian taunted. Now Obito doesn't have much fighting power, and it's obvious that he's guilty. Kamui. Uchiha Obito knew that Yitian knew everything about them when he heard this, and immediately escaped into the Kamui space. But before he could breathe a sigh of relief, he felt a chill on his back. 5 Elements Seal. Yitian used the advanced sealing technique taught by Tsunade to press on Uchiha Obito's abdomen, and then added a strange punch. Puff. Uchiha Obito vomited blood and knelt in front of Yi Tian, looking up and asking incredulously, "How did you get in?" "My innate spatial power is just right to restrain your alien space," Yi Tian said leisurely. "It is not difficult to counter the Kamui space. Leave the Flying Thunder God's mental power mark on Obito, and then break through the spatial barrier to get in. Of course, if there is no innate spatial power, it is really difficult to catch Uchiha Obito. It seems that few people in the entire Naruto world can do it. I still lost." After saying this, Uchiha Obito fainted and fell to the ground. Yi Tian carried Obito and left the Kamui space, and then went to the storage room of the seal book to meet Tsunade and Sister Yanling. "Emperor Tien, is this the mastermind behind this?" The moment Yi Tian appeared, Miss Yanling was stunned. According to the task prompt, the mastermind behind this has been captured, and the task completion rate is 50%. Yi Tian nodded lightly, then looked at Tsunade and said seriously, "I have avenged Rope Tree." Tsunade's shoulders trembled slightly when she heard this, and after a long while, she hummed softly. Yi Tian patted Tsunade's shoulder and said, "Let's go get the Book of Seals first." "No need, Sister Tsunade has already helped you get it just now," Sister Yanling said. "I'm not a fool. You asked us to meet here, and you must be planning to get the Book of Seals." Tsunade smiled proudly. "Haha, then there is only one step left." Yi Tian activated Flying Thunder God and brought the two women to the battlefield between the Nine Tails and Namikaze Minato. At this time, the Nine Tails had been subdued by Namikaze Minato and Uzumaki Shinkuna. Namikaze Minato was performing the Shikigami Fujin, and was about to divide the Nine Tails chakra into two halves and seal it in his and Naruto's bodies. "Are you still a step late?" Tsunade felt a little regretful. If she had come earlier, she might have been able to save Namikaze Minato and his wife. But after using the Shiki Fujin, the soul had to be dedicated to the god of death, and she could do nothing about it. "No, it's just right for me." Yi Tian threw Obito on the ground and walked towards Minato Namikaze. "God, Tsunade-sama, the mastermind behind the scenes was defeated by you." Minato Namikaze felt very surprised and pleasantly surprised, but Yi Tian at this moment gave him a very different feeling, a little strange and full of majesty, which made him a little alienated. "You can seal the Nine Tails chakra however you want. I'm here to take your soul mark so that I can revive you in the future." Yi Tian made his intention clear. Yes, he was going to save people, but not directly. If he wanted to save Minato Namikaze and his wife, he could have come earlier, but it was not in his interest. What he needed was the race of the god realm. Or Minato Namikaze and his wife would not agree to be his subordinate god clan. Then he could only wait until they died and then revive them with the altar of the underworld. In addition to Minato Namikaze and his wife, Yi Tian would collect the blood and soul marks of the Konoha ninjas who died at the hands of the Nine Tails, this time to maximize the benefits. "Resurrect us." Both Minato and his wife were shocked by Yi Tian's words. But in the current situation, they didn't have time to ask Yi Tian first, because sealing the Nine Tails was more important. "Human, you don't take me seriously." The Nine Tails roared at this time. Yi Tian's words just now, "You can seal the Nine Tails however you want," made it very angry. "Shut up," Yi Tian roared, and the chakra with divinity burst out from the sage's body, forming a terrifying pressure. "Ah, Senju Hashirama, 6 paths. How is it possible?" The Nine Tails lay on the ground like a puppy under Yi Tian's pressure, unable to move. This chakra is exactly the same as when it met Senju Hashirama. It was suppressed to death, and Yi Tian's chakra is higher than Senju Hashirama's level, because Yi Tian has divinity. This even reminds it of its former master, the Six Paths Sage. Although Yi Tian's chakra is not the chakra of the sage in the Six Paths mode, it is very similar. "Tian, you are so powerful." Minato Namikaze smiled bitterly. If he knew that Yi Tian was so powerful, he and his wife would not have to part with their newborn child. Even if Yi Tian had any purpose, Minato Namikaze felt that as long as it would not harm Konoha, it could be discussed. Unfortunately, Yi Tian could not confess to Minato Namikaze at the beginning, because Minato Namikaze had no real power and could not directly give the Book of Seals to Yi Tian. The main goal of Yi Tian's trip was the Book of Seals. Other tasks and rewards, to put it bluntly, were just icing on the cake. Yi Tian's Reincarnation God plan was the most important. Don't worry, I will revive you and will not make Naruto's future life too sad. Yi Tian said lightly. Thank you, Master Tien. Minato Namikaze and his wife expressed their gratitude and began to seal the 9 tails. After the death of the 2 couples, Yi Tian collected their soul marks that had not yet dispersed. When collecting the soul mark of Minato Namikaze, the death god of Shiki Fujin looked at Yi Tian deeply, but did not attack. Because Yi Tian's soul is stronger than the death god is just a soul phantom summoned from the underworld, but Yi Tian is a young god who is truly in the state of demigod perfection. Yi Tian only needs a soul mark, and the death god phantom will not fight with him. After all, it is definitely not able to beat him. After solving the problem of Minato Namikaze, Yi Tian, Tsunade, and Miss Yanling took the unconscious Uchiha Obito to meet the 3rd Hokage. The cause and effect of the 9 Tails Rebellion, the identity of Uchiha Obito, and the grievances with Danzo were told to the 3rd Hokage in detail. Finally, under the extremely complex and vicissitudes of the 3rd Hokage's eyes, Yi Tian, who had completed his goal, took Tsunade and others to leave the Naruto copy. This is a perfect curtain call for this reincarnation copy. After returning to the reincarnation space, Yi Tian was very excited, because this harvest would definitely allow his divine domain to achieve a qualitative leap. Reincarnation space. Ding. Players Tiandi and Yanlingji completed the SSS hidden task in Ninja Continent and received a Super God evaluation. Ding. Players Tiandi and Yanlingji completed the SSS hidden task in Ninja Continent and received a Super God evaluation. Ding. Players Tiandi and Yanlingji completed the SSS hidden task in Ninja Continent and received a Super God evaluation. After Yi Tian and the girl named Yanlingji returned to the reincarnation space, the announcement of the Super God evaluation resounded throughout the server. No way, it's the Emperor of Heaven again. No, this time there's also Yanlingji. Is he clinging to someone powerful? Yanlingji, isn't that a character from a closed copy of a certain S-level legion? No, that's a reincarnationist, but it's said that the two are related. It doesn't matter what their relationship is, I only care about the Emperor of Heaven. Yes, the Emperor of Heaven, she's the school beauty of the Magic Sea Film University, she's nice and talented. Slutty fool, how could the Emperor of Heaven fall for an old lady like you? The Emperor of Heaven, I was born in 2200, I'm good at cosplaying all kinds of characters, and I've never had a boyfriend. 2 missions, continuous Super God. If the reincarnationists only paid some attention to the Emperor of Heaven before, now they pay a lot of attention to him, and the big forces in the reincarnation space have begun to investigate all the information about the Emperor of Heaven, and it's best to find him in the real world. Super God evaluation, they also want it. Even if they can't get it, getting an SS level is fine. It's just that they want to find information about Yi Tian in reality, which is impossible. Unless they can travel to the universe of gods, but with their cultivation, they can forget about it in the next life. Hehe, the Emperor is really popular. Miss Yanlingji teased with a smile. But Yi Tian didn't care about these, he was just surprised by her name, it was really Yanlingji. Is it really Yanlingji? Yi Tian looked at the Yanlingji in front of him a few more times, and found that they really looked more and more like each other, but she was a little more fierce and mature than the original Yanlingji, and her personality was somewhat similar, but she was a reincarnation. That's my secret. Miss Yanlingji's gentle eyes flashed a trace of passionate flames, and at this moment, Yi Tian saw 2 souls in her eyes. So that's it, 2 souls in one body. Yi Tian smiled slightly and finally understood the relationship between the two. It seems that in the Tianxing Juge copy, she brought out Yanlingji's soul, and he brought out Tsunade in the Naruto copy in a similar situation. Now Tsunade is sleeping in Yi Tian's body, but her situation is much better than Yanlingji's. Tsunade's body has been preserved and sealed with a sealing scroll. You are such a bad person. You saw through me at once. Miss Yanlingji didn't expect that her soul came out to play a little, and was seen through by Yi Tian. She wanted to tease Yi Tian. Sorry, although I don't have insight skills, my soul power is too strong. Elves and ghosts can't hide in front of me. Yi Tian shrugged, indicating that it was not his fault that Yanlingji's secret was exposed. Then it's still my fault. Yanlingji pouted cutely. Otherwise, Yi Tian chuckled. Humph, I don't want to play anymore. I'm leaving first. Don't forget to transfer the reward to me, and remember to keep it a secret for me. Seeing that she couldn't flirt with Yi Tian, Yan Lingji felt a little frustrated and bored. She added Yi Tian as a friend and left. Rewards. It's time to count the rewards this time. Let's find a private space first. Yi Tian searched the buildings of the Samsara Tower and found the functions of the Samsara space that he didn't have time to learn last time, the reinforcement room and the practice room. The reinforcement room and the practice room are the basic functions of the Samsara space. The function of the reinforcement room is very simple. It uses points to strengthen skills and bloodlines, eliminate side effects, such as the side effects of devil fruits and Mangekyo Sharingan, etc. It is an extremely practical function, but it consumes a lot of points, and few people are willing to use this function. The function of the practice room is more direct, which is to speed up practice. The time ratio is different from that of the Samsara space, similar to the copy, and can be adjusted by spending points. Yi Tian was in the copy for a month, and less than a day in the Samsara space. The time in the Samsara space is one with the time in Yi Tian's God universe. This is adjusted by the Wanji login system. Otherwise, it might happen that when Yi Tian completes a mission in the reincarnation space, a month or a year has passed in the God universe. Wouldn't that be the end of the matter? Let's go to the reinforcement room first to see how many points are needed for reinforcement. After finding the location of the reinforcement room in the reincarnation forum, Yi Tian walked over and put the reincarnation watch on the space crystal stone at the door of the reinforcement room. With a flash of silver light, he entered a vast white space. There was nothing in the space. But soon Yi Tian's information bar appeared in front of him. Player. Emperor Tian. Combat power. S+++. Talents. Regeneration. Hades divinity. Space power. Immortal body. Passive skills. Physical resistance reduction. Skills. Telekinesis. Ninjutsu flying thunder god technique. Reincarnation points. 268,000. Items. Book of Seals. Heaven's Lock. Copy ID card X2, Spacetime Login card X2. Contracted Soul. Tsunade G. You can receive the following mission rewards. Mainline Darkness of Konoha SS. Mainline Nine-Tail Rebellion S. Hidden Mission The Man Behind the Scenes SSS. The Samsara points are 260,000 now. The heads of those Konoha elders are quite valuable. The Samsara points were only 250,000 before, and killing them brought more than 10,000. Danzo and his men deserved their death. Yi Tian smiled slightly, and then said, get the rewards. Ding. Receive the SS level mainline reward, and get 100,000 Samsara points, SS level item, God level login card. Receive the S level mainline reward, and get 50,000 Samsara points, S level blood limit card would release. Receive the SSS level hidden mission reward, and get 200,000 Samsara points X10, SS level blood limit card Samsara IX10. Current points. 2,418,000 points. God level login card. You can log into the dungeon world of Gods and Demons Exist once, adjust the timeline, and obtain a talent above S level in the dungeon world. Bloodline limit card. After using it, you can directly obtain the bloodline limit sealed in the card. Oh my god, 2 million reincarnation points, I got rich overnight. Yi Tian sighed. This time the Naruto dungeon really made a lot of money. Even though Yi Tian had been prepared, he was still surprised by the 2 million reincarnation points. 2 million reincarnation points are 2 million divine crystals. And 2 million reincarnation points, if used properly, may be able to multiply the divine crystals 10 or 100 times. For example, using Yi Tian's previous Chamber of Commerce plan, he could be a businessman between the reincarnation space and the universe of gods, and make money by taking advantage of the information gap. Senzu beans. Yi Tian thought of senzu beans at the first time. There was a true god in the universe of gods who urgently needed senzu beans. The true god offered an outrageous high price, and promised to get the friendship of the true god. This was a great favor, and the value was inestimable. As for the reincarnation space, Yi Tian believed that the value of senzu beans would not exceed 100,000 points. I remember there is an auction in the building of the reincarnation tower city. You can go and see if there are any goods you want. Yi Tian now has 2 million reincarnation points. Basically, he can buy all the props that are not too precious, such as artifacts or goods that need to be exchanged. Give the reward to Yan Lingji first. Yi Tian doesn't like to owe others things, so now that he has received the reward, he should give it to her as soon as possible. Ding. Do you want to give 200,000 reincarnation points and SS level blood limit card reincarnation I to your friend Yan Lingji? Yes. After operating the reincarnation watch for a while, Yi Tian pressed the confirmation button. Ding dong. Emperor Tian, I love you so much. After receiving the task share, Yan Lingji really wanted to express her gratitude to Yi Tian in person. She could even accept Yi Tian's excessiveness, but of course, she couldn't accept it too much. Both souls in her body were women who seemed passionate but were actually very conservative. The charm of reincarnation points is really great. Yi Tian smiled and shook his head, then looked at his remaining rewards this time. Points. 2,218,000. SS level props. God level login card. S level blood limit card would release. Quote. SS level blood limit card Rinnegan X9. God level login card. Log in to the world of gods and demons. This is very important. It can make Yi Tian's strength leap again, so he can plan it well. Wood release and Rinnegan. Wood release is only S level. Yi Tian was a little surprised. He always thought that wood release and Rinnegan were at the same level. But think about it, the immortal body is SS level, and the Rinnegan is the immortal eye, so it is normal to be SS. As for wood release, it is at the same level as the Mangekyo Sharingan. Uchiha Madara did not open the Rinnegan during his lifetime, but he was indeed at the same level as Hashirama Senju. Wood release can be given to Tsunade, and a pair of Rinnegan can also be given to her. No, these rewards can all be given to the God Realm race. Haha, blood limit card, this thing is too beneficial to me. Yi Tian almost forgot that the God Realm race has the innate skills, and the God Lord can definitely control them. This is also the most important reason why the gods used all their resources to cultivate the God Realm race and ignored their own combat power in the God Age, because the power of the gods is greater than the sum of their strength. Why is it greater than the sum? Because the God Realm races that I can do may not necessarily do it, but the gods that can do it will definitely do it. With 9 pairs of Samsara eyes, a wood release, and the elite ninja souls collected by Konoha village, my God Realm race can match some weak primary gods. Yi Tian carefully considered. Tsunade's combat power is A++, level 3. After Tsunade obtains wood release and Samsara eyes, she will definitely reach S level, and she is not weak in S level. But the gap with Yi Tian's S+++ level is still huge. Yi Tian's strength is already invincible in S level, and ordinary S level can be killed in seconds. Uchiha Obito reached S level because of his unique Sharingan, but he had no power to resist in front of Yi Tian. And the remaining 8 pairs of Samsara eyes can cultivate 8 weaker S level combat power. It can be said that Yi Tian's God Realm race is only 1 S level combat power away from reaching the promotion requirements of the initial stage of God. However, in order to better understand the power of the two worlds, Yi Tian still asked the system. System, can you tell me the comparison between the realm of the reincarnation space and the God universe? Yi Tian has always been quite curious. Ding. The combat power of gods in the God universe fluctuates greatly due to the races in the God realm, but if we only consider the gods themselves, we can give a rough assessment. The Son of God is equivalent to a reincarnation of level A+++. Demigod is equivalent to a reincarnation of level S+++. Primary gods, middle gods, and upper true gods are equivalent to SS level reincarnation. Wait, SS level reincarnation includes the 3 major realms of the God universe. When the system said this, Yi Tian was slightly surprised. This span is a bit large. SS level reincarnationists are all extraordinary beings at the level of gods and demons. The span of gods and demons in the heavens and the worlds is very large. According to the gods they become in different copy worlds, their strength is also different. I see. Yi Tian nodded, and then asked, what about SSS level reincarnationists? The strongest in the reincarnation space should be more than SSS level. Ding. The situation of SSS level reincarnationists is very special. The conditions for promotion are very complicated. Sometimes it cannot be described by level. The host can imagine Marvel for this. Marvel. The strength is messy and very imprecise, but if they really compete, it is not difficult to destroy the multiverse. Hearing the system talking about Marvel, Yi Tian can probably understand what the SSS-level reincarnationists are like. It seems that the strong in the reincarnation space are not as simple as Yi Tian thought. For most of the reincarnationists in the universal reincarnation world, he is considered a big boss. He is also invincible among S-level reincarnationists, and even some weak SS-level ones may not be unable to fight. However, the strong ones in the SS level and the unknown SSS levels in the reincarnation space are not what he can underestimate now. But it doesn't matter, because in the reincarnation space, the plot is king. Yi Tian, who knows the plot, has a golden finger, and can be resurrected infinitely in the divine domain, is an invincible bug existence. Sooner or later, he will surpass them. Surpass those SS and SSS level reincarnations, surpass those true gods, god kings, and god emperors. Yi Tian has invincible confidence in himself. Now wake up Tsunade first. Before Yi Tian takes her back to the universe of gods, he must first merge her soul with her sealed body. Yi Tian, are you there? How can I see your soul, and your soul world is so warm and full of power? At this time, Tsunade happened to wake up and walked in Yi Tian's soul world. Although she had known for a long time that Yi Tian had some magical and secrets that she didn't know, it was really a bit exaggerated. Yi Tian's soul world was too vast and too real, as if it was a real world. It's good to wake up, let you see the new world. Yi Tian smiled slightly, and then formed a seal to release Tsunade's body sealed in the seal scroll. The flawless body, if it wasn't for the soul, would be the same as a living person. Now just move the soul back and stabilize it. However, just when Yi Tian was about to do this. Ding! Player Tiandi, do you want to spend 1 million points to help the contracted soul, Tsunade Ji, merge with the body? 1 million points, why not go and grab it? Yi Tian was about to complain at this moment, but was stunned when he heard the next reminder from the reincarnation space. After Tsunade merges with her body, she will obtain the official identity of the reincarnation space and can go back and forth at any time. All reincarnations who enter this copy will enter the timeline after the Nine Tails Rebellion. Reincarnations who enter the copy before this time period but have not completed the main task will be forced to exit without any punishment, and the number of logins will be retained. If the player Tiandi obtains the SS level item Reincarnation World Legion card, he can establish a Legion root base in the Ninja Continent copy. If the Reincarnation Legion completely conquers this reincarnation copy, it can privatize the world. All reincarnations need the permission of the player Tiandi to enter. After listening to the reminder of the reincarnation space, Yi Tian suddenly felt that he had not lost out. Because he did not contract one person, but obtained the qualification to control a world. This is 1 million reincarnation points in exchange for a Naruto world. Done. Although 1 million reincarnation points are a lot, Yi Tian will definitely get too many reincarnation points in the future, so it is absolutely worthwhile to use them to exchange for a Naruto world, not to mention Tsunade who has obtained the identity of a reincarnation. To be precise, buying Tsunade is giving away a world. Although it still takes a Legion card and some time to conquer the Naruto world, Yi Tian is not in a hurry at all. Ding! Consume 1 million points, fusion successful. As the sound of the reincarnation space sounded, Tsunade's soul and body were perfectly integrated and transformed in the enhanced room. Became more beautiful and more fairy-like. Finally woke up. Ding! The first affiliated reincarnation of the player Tiandi was born. Because of the divinity of Tiandi, the player Princess Tsunade evolved and obtained Sage Body. Player Tiandi, Combat Power S+++. Talents: Regeneration, Hades Divinity, Space Power, Sage Body. Passive skills: Physical Reduction Resistance. Skills: Telekinesis, Ninjutsu Flying Thunder God Technique. Reincarnation points: 1,218,000. Items: Book of Seals, Heaven's Lock, Instance ID Card X2, Spacetime Login Card X2, God Level Login Card. SS Level Blood Limit Card X9, S Level Blood Limit Card X1. Subordinate God Clan, Tsunade Heim. Sage Body. Yi Tian did not expect Tsunade to awaken the Sage Body directly. Is it because she is his subordinate reincarnationist, and he is a god? Reincarnationist, reincarnation space, the heavens and the worlds. After becoming Yi Tian's subordinate god clan, Tsunade immediately obtained all the information and knew the mystery of the reincarnation space. And she did not expect Yi Tian to be a god, the god of the reincarnation space. Although she did not know Yi Tian's origins, she felt that Yi Tian was really powerful. "Humph, you bad guy, you really got on your pirate ship," Tsunade said slightly, but she was not really angry, because she had decided to give her whole person to Yi Tian. Although Yi Tian's identity was given by the reincarnation space, her memory was very real, and she had done almost everything she could do in the month she was with Yi Tian. Even if Yi Tian told her the truth in advance, she would choose to go with Yi Tian. "Don't even think about getting off the pirate ship once you're on it." Yi Tian smiled slightly. It was impossible for the gods to betray him after becoming his subordinates, not to mention the contract of the reincarnation space, although Yi Tian didn't think Tsunade would go back on her word. "Who wants to go down? I won't leave even if you drive me away," Tsunade said with some teeth baring. "Ha ha." Yi Tian smiled, and then said seriously, "Because of you, we can log into your world copy at any time in the future, and we can go back anytime we want." "Yeah," Tsunade nodded. Although she had no worries in the Naruto world, she would still think of it occasionally, and because of the reincarnation space, she had to be wary of other reincarnations. Yi Tian seemed to know Tsunade's concerns and said, "After we create the Legion, we will try to control the world. Then we won't have to worry about other reincarnations. And that will be the best for you, Tian." Tsunade knew that controlling a world was equivalent to controlling all the creatures there. Yi Tian nodded. After controlling the world, when fighting in the god's domain, with one order, all the ninjas in the world would fight for him, and the primary gods would tremble in fear. Moreover, being the master of the world, there are definitely other benefits in the samsara space. Let's get familiar with the samsara space first. "Is there a casino here?" Tsunade asked with some expectation. "What are you thinking about?" Yi Tian gave Tsunade a slap on the head. He didn't want Tsunade to lose all his wealth. "I'm not sure I'll lose." Tsunade felt a little wronged. "Hee, just laugh it off." Yi Tian didn't bother to say anything to her. He took out the blood limit card, the Samsara Eye and the Book of Seals. "This is the blood limit card of the Samsara Eye. Now that you have awakened the sage body, you can perfectly integrate it. There is no problem practicing wood escape. Get familiar with it here." Yes, Tsunade is very interested in both the Samsara Eye and wood escape. Now that she has the conditions for practicing, she will naturally not miss it. Yi Tian originally wanted to give Tsunade an S-level blood limit card, but she already has a more advanced sage body. It would be a waste to give it to her. It would be a good choice to keep it for trading or selling it to others. As for Yi Tian, since he has come to the strengthening room, he must strengthen himself. And the best choice to strengthen himself is, of course, blood talent. God-made weapon Heaven's Chain is also a good choice, but this Heaven's Chain is useful for the realm below the God King, and it must come from a high-level mythical world in the reincarnation space, which is much more advanced than the Heaven's Chain of type Moon. It is estimated that 1 million points will not make any splash. Therefore, Yi Tian still chooses talent. Yi Tian's 4 talents: S-level regeneration, SS-level immortal body, Pluto's divinity and space power are unknown. Although the first 2 are useful, they do not need to be improved for the time being. Pluto's divinity and space power, Yi Tian thinks they have unlimited potential, and the space power talent allows him to directly learn the Flying Thunder God technique. Pluto's divinity, Yi Tian always thought it was useless, but when Yi Tian collected the soul imprints of Minato Namikaze and his wife in the Naruto copy, the Death Shadow did not dare to fight with him. At that time, he thought it was because his soul was strong. But now think about it, maybe there is another reason: the godhood of Hades. The godhood of Hades is definitely stronger than the godhood of the god of death in the Naruto world. The suppression of superiors and subordinates makes the god of death dare not fight with him. Yi Tian secretly said, with the godhood of Hades, he should be able to come and go freely in some god and demon worlds with the underworld. Otherwise, he will not fight with the god of Hades in that world. There can't be 2 tigers in one mountain. If Yi Tian is the god of Hades in a god and demon world, he can't allow the existence of gods with the same godhood as him. Let's not improve the godhood of Hades first, this thing has advantages and disadvantages. Reincarnation space, strengthen the talent space power. Yi Tian said. Ding. Player Tiandi, will you deduct 200,000 points and strengthen the talent space power? Yes. Although 200,000 points are not a small amount, Yi Tian didn't even blink. Ding. Strengthening is successful, and the talent is upgraded to Initial Space Law. Initial Space Law can comprehend the basic laws of the universe, exert the power of space with almost no consumption, and become the god of space after condensing the godhood. To comprehend the elementary space law is equivalent to obtaining a ticket to become a space god. The law of the god level. Yi Tian was surprised. He had not yet become a god, but he had already comprehended the power of the law. In the universe of gods, except for the freaks in the royal family, there should be no gods who can control the law at the level of demigods. Although many demigods have more or less some power of law, if they want to fully control a law, even if it is a basic law, they must reach the level of gods. Moreover, the laws of gods are mostly related to their divine races. For example, for the divine races with fire attributes as the main attribute, the gods generally control the law of fire. When fighting in the divine realm, the gods use their own law of fire to increase the combat power of the divine races, complementing each other and forming a virtuous cycle. However, Yi Tian now controls the law of space. When fighting in the divine realm, I'm sorry, everyone in the divine race will be flying thunder god. Haha, let's see who dares to go against me. Yi Tian was excited and felt that it was time to return to the universe of gods. But before returning, I have to inquire about the news of the Legion card in the world of reincarnation. Although Yi Tian was eager to return to test his strength, he did not forget about the copy of the Naruto world. At the same time, he also planned to buy the cloning technology of the world of Resident Evil, which would be used as a sacrifice for the impure world reincarnation. At this moment, a reminder suddenly came to his mind. Ding! The affiliated god clan Tsunade obtained the blood limit of the Samsara Eye and successfully awakened the wood release. Player Tiandi obtained the SS level talent Samsara Eye, awakened the SS level skill wood release. Player Tiandi, combat power, SS lower god. Talents, regeneration, Hades divinity, space law primary, sage body, Samsara Eye. Passive skills, physical reduction resistance. Skills, telekinesis, flying thunder god technique, wood release. Samsara points, 1,018,000. Affiliated god clan, Tsunade Heim. Combat power, S+. Talents, Samsara Eye, sage body. I'm invincible now, my grandpa can't beat me either. After Tsunade merged with the Samsara Eye and awakened the wood release, she felt full of strength. She felt like she had hung her grandpa up and beat him. Wow, crack, crack. Only Hashirama Senju is no longer alive. Otherwise, if he knew what this filial granddaughter was thinking, I wonder what her expression would be. Isn't this normal? Look at how proud you are. Yi Tian said lightly. Tsunade's talent was not bad to begin with. It was normal for her to awaken the wood release quickly with a sage body. The Samsara Eye could be used directly after fusion. She was originally the bloodline of the Otsutsuki clan, so there was no bloodline conflict. What? Be careful or I'll beat you up. Tsunade waved her fist and said playfully. Beat me, it seems that you are very arrogant. Very good, very energetic. I hope you can still be so energetic later. Yi Tian was unhappy when she heard this. It seemed that she had to teach her a lesson. Anyway, there was still plenty of time. Otherwise, she would not know what it meant for a husband to be a wife's leader. What are you doing? Tsunade was a little nervous. She really didn't know how strong Yi Tian was now. But soon she knew, it was a power like a god or demon. 2 hours, the fun was over. Yi Tian and Tsunade left the strengthening room. Tsunade, who was standing behind Yi Tian, no longer had the momentum of invincible in the world. Like a bullied young wife, she dared not say a word. She was beaten to her knees just now, which was quite bad. Yi Tian was sunny and refreshed, and was very satisfied with the result of the battle and Tsunade's defeat. Reincarnation space, Commercial Street. After leaving the strengthening room, Yi Tian and Tsunade strolled all the way to the Commercial Street and saw many reincarnations setting up stalls. Hee, there are so many novel things here. The goods in the reincarnation space are really countless, all kinds of strange. Even Tsunade, who has seen the world, is very shocked. Seeing Tsunade's enthusiastic appearance, Yi Tian originally thought that she had no interest in shopping, but unexpectedly, all women in the world are the same. Yi Tian really doesn't understand why women like shopping so much, and often discuss very enthusiastically, but in the end they don't buy. Speechless. However, Yi Tian is not here to accompany Tsunade shopping, but to see if there are any goods he needs here. Reincarnation space cloning technology, with all supporting equipment and instructions for use, and 100 medical robots for free. The price is 1,000 reincarnation points, don't miss it if you pass by. Suddenly heard a vendor shouting in front. Yi Tian was stunned. Isn't this what he wants to buy? Just a little surprised. So cheap. Brother, among the rewards of the reincarnation space, technology is the least valuable, and someone got the cloning technology on the second day of the global reincarnation. If I hadn't exploded this card while doing the task, I wouldn't bother to sell it. The guy who bought the cloning technology said bitterly. Technology can be copied infinitely, and at most it consumes some materials. If Yi Tian does not buy it in the reincarnation space, he can get it by spending money in the real world where everyone reincarnates, or even by using some tricks. I bought it. Yi Tian was too lazy to bother, and this guy was very honest, and he also gave him 100 robots, which could save him a lot of trouble. Hey, thank you, boss. The vendor quickly packed the reward card for cloning technology and the seal card for sealing 100 robots, and then handed it to Yi Tian. After Yi Tian transferred the money, he was about to call Tsunade behind him to leave. But Tsunade stopped at a somewhat luxurious stall next door and called Yi Tian. Wait, my god, look at this kind of beans, the breath of life is so strong. What beans? Yi Tian walked over and saw the product and raised his eyebrows immediately. Senzu beans, no-grade food item, which can keep you from being hungry for 10 days and can also heal injuries. Senzu beans. Yi Tian didn't expect to encounter Senzu beans before he even entered the Dragon Ball dungeon, and there were 10 of them on the stall. Hey, you two know what's good, this is the item our Legion Commander won in a lottery after getting an S-level rating. Eating it can keep you from being hungry for 10 days and can also heal injuries. The young vendor on the luxurious stall said with a smile. He thought the big fat sheep was coming. It was obvious that he treated Yi Tian and Tsunade as newbies who had just entered the reincarnation space. It was really hard to sell items without a grade. 10 days of not being hungry. Many reincarnationists would not be in any trouble if they didn't eat for 10 days. Healing injuries, because there are only 10, one less is one less, no one has used it, who knows how effective it is. This thing doesn't even have a grade, even if it can heal ordinary people or F-level reincarnationists, but what about E-level and above reincarnationists? Therefore, it has been here for so long and still can't be sold. Just tell me, how much is it? Yi Tian said. 1,000 per piece, our leader said, not a penny less. The young vendor smiled. What did you say? Yi Tian was shocked. Ahem, this is what my leader said, I can't do anything about it. The young vendor was a little embarrassed, he also knew that his leader was making trouble for no reason. But no one would be willing to get this thing in the S-level task evaluation. Okay, I want them all, just as a friend. Yi Tian bought all 10 Senzu beans very straightforwardly, and after the transfer was completed, he took Tsunade to the auction site very calmly. After walking away, Tsunade whispered in Yi Tian's ear, Tian, isn't this item of no grade? Is there something mysterious about it? Haha, no grade doesn't mean it's useless. Yi Tian didn't explain to Tsunade, after all, there are many people in the reincarnation space. Anyway, he made a lot of money this time. 10 Senzu beans. It's only 10,000 reincarnation points. But it's also because of the special nature of Senzu beans. Most of the non-graded items are equipment without attributes, such as the exquisite small sword. But Senzu beans are obviously not, but a healing medicine that ignores the level. One Senzu bean is equal to one more life. This is the information gap. In the reincarnation space, information is supreme. Well, maybe my SS Legion card can also be used to get something for nothing. Before returning, Yi Tian planned to use the auction function of the reincarnation space to reward the SS Reincarnation World Legion card. In his heart, he had already planned to trade with SS level items. But now, why not sell the information directly? How much is the information that a certain high-level copy may get an SS level evaluation? Anyway, Yi Tian only brushes the SS's level evaluation. Others with SS level evaluations are not a threat to him, and having information does not necessarily mean that he can get an SS level evaluation. As long as the content of the information is true, it's fine. Hide some key details in the information, and you can even kill the other party. Okay, done. After entering the auction house of the Samsara space, Yi Tian consigned 2 SS intelligence and 1 SSS intelligence after proving the authenticity of the intelligence at the notary office of the auction house. At 12 o'clock, the auction will start in the Samsara space. After the auction, the Samsara space will automatically transfer the money to Yi Tian's ID. If it fails to be sold, some points will be deducted as handling fees. Yi Tian still has 1 million Samsara points, so he is not afraid of deductions. Besides, he does not think it will fail to be sold. In the Samsara space, the importance of intelligence is absolutely immeasurable. Even a SSS level Samsara will fall if he does not know the intelligence. For example, Marvel, fantasy, prehistoric, mythology, and some strange worlds, such as Doraemon. It is not uncommon for a boat to capsize in the gutter in the Samsara space. Unless you reach the avenue level, even if you reach the realm of Pangu, you dare not say that you are invincible in all realms. So where are we going now? To other dungeons, or to the real world? I looked at the forum and found a casino in the real world called Loss, something like gas. Tsunade saw that Yi Tian was done, so she urged Yi Tian to take her to the casino. She was not allowed to touch the casino in the reincarnation space, but the casino in the real world should be okay. Haha, I'll help you change your luck later, now go home. Yi Tian smiled and decisively rejected Tsunade's idea. Go home. Tsunade was rejected but did not make a fuss, but was more looking forward to Yi Tian's home. She didn't know Yi Tian's background at all, she only knew that he was a god. Originally, I didn't intend to let the reincarnations who were loyal to me know about my world, but you are an exception. Yi Tian thought about it and decided to confess to Tsunade. Because she was his person and it was impossible for her to betray, he didn't want to use Tsunade as a tool in the battle of the gods. What are you talking about, weird? Tsunade sneered lightly, but her inner emotions were quite unsettled. Let's go. Yi Tian didn't explain, and then took her hand, silently chanting in his heart, System, return to the universe of gods. A silver light flashed, and the two disappeared in the reincarnation space. Not long after the two left, several powerful reincarnationists appeared out of thin air in the auction hall of the reincarnation space, both men and women, but other reincarnationists couldn't see their faces clearly, and mortals couldn't look at them directly. When the other reincarnationists in the auction hall saw them, they were extremely respectful, like gods. The person who auctioned the information anonymously seems to have left. Ah, a step late. What a pity, but I didn't expect you to react so quickly. It's the same for each other. After all, who doesn't want such talents? Even if you can't get them, it's always good to make friends with them. It would be even better if it's a little brother. Ha, vixen. Hee, dead gay. Can men's friendship be called gay? Hee, I just smiled. At this moment, Yi Tian, who had already left the reincarnation space, didn't know what happened in the auction hall. If he was at the scene, he would be able to see clearly the identities of these mysterious reincarnations, because they are all beings of the same level. Divine Realm. Metaverse. Is this your divine realm? The moment Tsunade followed Yi Tian back to the divine universe, she felt a sense of divinity from the Temple of Atlantis in the divine realm. It was exactly the same as Yi Tian's divinity. Tsunade now roughly understood the peculiarity of Yi Tian's world. And at the moment when Yi Tian came back, the 5,000 slimes in the metaverse ocean also floated up. Wow, so cute. Tsunade's eyes lit up when she saw such cute slimes. Yi Tian also smiled knowingly when he saw the cute slimes so impatient. It's just been a while since we last met, is there any need to be so excited? It's just that the 5,000 slimes didn't rush towards him as Yi Tian imagined, but they all revolved around Tsunade. Yi Tian, aren't slimes creatures? They don't have reincarnated souls. Why do they like Tsunade more than their master? Is it because of some reasons that they regard Tsunade as the same kind? Oh my god, they are so cute and soft. At this time, Tsunade came to Yi Tian with a blue jelly-like slime in her hand and said happily. It's okay. Yi Tian curled his lips. He was a little unhappy that these idiots were better to Tsunade than him as their master. However, Tsunade and his slimes had a good relationship, which made it easier to manage. Although they were all his races in the God realm, it did not mean that every race in the God realm could get along with each other. In the future, Tsunade could be trusted to take care of this place. After playing with the slimes for a while, Tsunade learned the truth. Tian, you mean, this is another universe, the world of global gods? Tsunade was a little shocked. Gods are high above and untouchable by ordinary people. Even her grandfather, Hashirama Senju, only had the title of god, not a real god, otherwise he would not have died with Uchiha Madara. And in this world, all people are gods, 10 billion or 100 billion gods. Too exaggerated, 100 billion gods. Tsunade was shocked. No, the number of gods should be 10 billion. Although the population of God Earth is similar to that of the Earth in the world of universal reincarnation, both are at the level of 100 billion, most people are demigods in this life, and the number of gods should be around 10 billion. Yi Tian thought for a while and said, 10 billion gods, it's also exaggerated. Tsunade said with lingering fear. There are 10 billion beings in this world who can kill her in seconds. If the 5 major ninja villages in her world knew such news, they would also be shocked. Most gods are not in the ancestral star, but fighting in the void battlefield. Yi Tian said, Void battlefield, what is that place? Tsunade asked curiously. If I guessed correctly, the void battlefield will be the main battlefield between her and Yi Tian in the future. The void battlefield, there is no detailed information in the textbooks. In a word, it is the intersection of time and space and dimension, the source of chaos where darkness and light are mixed, the place of life and immortality, the place where all worlds rotate and all things return to the abyss. Yi Tian said, with some yearning in his heart. It is an unknown, vast cosmic ocean, with endless secrets and treasures. The source of chaos, the land of life and immortality. It sounds so mysterious, Tsunade murmured, in awe, but also had some yearning for the mysterious void battlefield. Well, only by becoming a god can you be qualified to stand in the void battlefield. According to my guess, if the god does not have the immortality of the kingdom of God and the immortality of the gods, the moment he enters the void battlefield, he will be destroyed in body and soul. As a top student, Yi Tian naturally has some research on the void battlefield, based on intelligence legends and the school's plan to cultivate gods. Yi Tian had previously inferred that the reason why the gods like the battle of the gods domain and don't like single duels is related to the void battlefield. Then why did they give up cultivating individual battles because of the void battlefield? Yi Tian speculated that the gods didn't want to, but couldn't. Tian, become a god as soon as possible. I am more and more curious about the void battlefield. Tsunade said. Although she doesn't like war like most ninjas, she still has a wild heart in her bones, and the void battlefield is not the kind of war between people, but the struggle and adventure between races and universes. I won't let you wait too long. Yi Tian's eyes are full of confidence. But now, let's talk to Tsunade about the big things about the races in the divine realm. Chapter 31. The next day, the spirit was bright and beautiful, and the air was floating. When Yi Tian woke up in the small bungalow, it was already noon. It seems that I don't have to go to class today. At this stage, it doesn't matter whether Yi Tian goes to school or not. As long as he takes the college entrance examination on time, the school won't say much. Hey, it's time to get up. After a pause, Yi Tian habitually patted the right side of the quilt, but there was nothing. Then he remembered that after the crazy event in the God realm, Tsunade stayed in the God realm and probably hasn't woken up yet. In other words, it is not convenient for Tsunade to appear in the God universe. Although she is protected by the 10,000 Worlds login system, Tsunade's characteristics are too obvious and too eye-catching. I'd better go out by myself. Yi Tian thought about it and planned to go to the treasure pavilion alone. It's time to tear up the SSS level treasure hunting order. I was surprised that Monkey didn't bother me this morning, but she left me a message. Yi Tian looked at Shen Jing's phone and found that Hu Xiaofei didn't nag him. He probably didn't find an excuse like visiting Yi Tian to skip class together. It's really rare. It was just unexpected that Mu Qinger left him a message. Why didn't you come to class today? I had something last night. Yi Tian simply edited a text message and replied. But I didn't expect her to reply in seconds. I have something, is it important? Yes, it's very important. Yi Tian nodded deeply. The divine domain race plan is very important in all aspects, both publicly and privately. Do you want me to help? Ahem, thank you, but I won't bother you. Yi Tian said, closed the phone, and didn't chat with her anymore. Mu Qinger is a thoughtful girl, but she can't help. They are just ordinary friends. With a slight smile, Yi Tian began to wash up and then prepared to go out. But just as he was washing up, a heavenly sound of fairy music sounded outside the window, which made people unable to help but indulge in it. When will the bright moon appear? I ask the sky with wine. I don't know what year it is in the palace in heaven. Listening to the heavenly sound, Yi Tian felt that his divine power had increased a lot, and his understanding of the laws of space had also deepened. Wow, who is singing? It's so nice. Yi Tian pushed open the window and took a breath of fairy air. It's not cold air, it's real fairy air. Because at this moment, a dragon-shaped fairy boat in the sky is shuttling through space, moving slowly, surrounded by cranes, black birds, and phoenixes, surrounded by fairy air, fairy lotus blooming, condensing a fairyland on earth. Which big star and big singer is patrolling and performing? No, it's the royal family. Yi Tian originally thought that some goddesses and fairies from the music department of the God University were on tour, but after seeing the black bird totem on the fairy boat, his face suddenly became solemn. The black bird totem is the royal totem of the Shenzhou Empire. The ancestral dragon totem is generally only used by the emperor and prince of Shenzhou. The royal family is so grand. The weakest cranes beside the immortal boat are not weaker than the middle-level gods. Yi Tian's eyesight is still good, after all, he has the Wanji login system. Haha, under the system, the level of these immortal pets can be seen at once. The cranes with medium divine power are the honor guards, and the strength of the blackbirds and phoenixes that are stronger than the cranes, tut-tut. This is the royal family. In that case, Yangcheng's strongest true god Chen Yan is nothing in the eyes of the royal family. But why did the royal family make such a fuss? With such a grand ceremony, the status of the royal family members who came this time must be high. Sure enough, there is a problem. Yi Tian just felt suspicious before, but now he can be sure that the royal family came to Yangcheng to praise Chen Yan, just an excuse to cover up. The real reason is definitely more complicated than imagined. Void battlefield. It must be related to Chen Yan's meritorious service in the void battlefield. It seems that Yangcheng will not be peaceful recently. Yi Tian frowned slightly. What he could think of, the other four great gods' empires would not be unable to think of. The 5 great gods' empires created by the 5 great gods have been in a peaceful state for many years, and they have also been united in the void battlefield. But the open and secret struggles on the ancestral planet Earth are inevitable. They are all for the sake of interests. The behavior of the 5 empires prying each other's genius gods is a common occurrence. Besides, there are more than 5 empires on the Earth, there are hundreds of kingdoms of all sizes. Forget it, those big things should not involve me. Yi Tian muttered for a while, but still quickly washed up and went out. By the way, why do I have to take a car now? Yi Tian originally wanted to take the light-speed high-speed rail to the treasure pavilion, but he remembered the space law he had comprehended and recalled the location of the treasure pavilion in his heart. The void flashed, and he teleported to the door of the treasure pavilion, which surprised the sales lady in the store. The space law is really useful, and I can save the fare in the future. Yi Tian saw that he really appeared in front of the treasure pavilion without any obstacles such as space barriers, and smiled slightly. But Yi Tian was happy a little too early. Just half a minute after he appeared in the treasure pavilion, a young man in a black robe, with flaming hair and carrying a xuanqi heavy sword appeared behind him. And the appearance of the young man did not alarm anyone nearby, such as the sales lady just now, as if she didn't see him. Who? Yi Tian reacted immediately. Haha, you still ask who I am, kid, didn't your mentor tell you that you can't use the space law casually on the ancestral star? Which god university are you from? No, you are just a demigod. Seeing that Yi Tian didn't recognize him, the black-robed red-haired young man laughed immediately but stopped laughing halfway. Originally, he only regarded Yi Tian as a genius from a certain god university. After all, gods who can comprehend the space law are very rare. You have to have talent. Without talent, everything is useless. But he took a closer look. Where did this freak come from? The demigod has the space law that is extremely rare among gods. The space law is not the space magic power and space skills. His god realm race also controls the space skills, but when he encounters a god of the same level who controls the space law, all his skills will be useless. The space-time god system is invincible at the same level, and even the god king dares to do it. He will feel extremely difficult. It's just the elementary space law. Is it rare? You are a true god. Yi Tian said disapprovingly. What a fuss. It's just the elementary space law. This guy is a true god, and the strongest genius in Shenzhou in the past 100 years. Yes, with the prompt of the system, Yi Tian knew the identity of the man in front of him. The number one brother of Yangcheng Town Fusi, the true god Qin Yan. Character: Qin Yan. Realm: true god ultimate quasi-god king, can fight with god king. Talent: fire law, destruction law, soul law, life law, Yan emperor immortal body. Skill: fragments of, burning skill. No grade. Races in the divine domain: Yan clan, Ling clan, Mu clan, etc. Evaluation: unparalleled Tianzhao, huge luck, with rare infinite upgrade skills fragments, no bottleneck before reaching the realm of God Emperor, but the risk is very high, every breakthrough is a life and death struggle. Qin Yan's attributes are exposed under the system, which makes Yi Tian a little shocked. Yi Tian was shocked by Qin Yan's attributes. Talent, skills, luck. All three things are occupied. If his understanding and perseverance can keep up, he will definitely be the template of the Son of Luck. No wonder he can become a true god in 100 years. And now he is the ultimate true god, that is, the quasi-god king. What's more exaggerated is that he can fight with the god king. Is the realm above the true god the god king? There may be a quasi-god king in between. After all, the system division and the division of the world of gods may not be the same. By the way, your soul and body are completely in harmony. It doesn't look like an old monster taking over. Could it be the reincarnation of a certain god king or a higher existence? When Yi Tian was looking at Qin Yan was also looking at Yi Tian. Yi Tian is so evil. If he is of royal blood, it's fine. But if not, he is a rare evil in the ages. At present, only the royal family and the little monster in Shenzhou can compare with Yi Tian. After all, it is very difficult for civilians without blood to have the current strength of Yi Tian. Qin Yan, who was born in poverty, knows it best. If Yi Tian's strength is all obtained by his own practice, then, this boy has the appearance of a god emperor. Has anyone been possessed on the ancestral planet Earth? Yi Tian asked with a little curiosity. That's impossible. Qin Yan thought about it and it was right. With the seal of the gods, the souls of life in different time and space could not enter at all, let alone the god emperor. That's it. Yi Tian was slightly relieved in his heart. He was really a little afraid that someone could break through the seal of the gods. However, the Wanji login system said that no life could enter. Yi Tian could come and go freely in the two universes and bring Tsunade in because of the protection of the system. Well, speaking of it, Yi Tian, you have recognized me now, right? Qin Yan said with a smile. He knew Yi Tian because Yi Tian was the most famous genius of his alma mater. He also watched the video of defeating Zhao Xiaorui. At that time, he thought it was okay, a little worse than he was back then. Now, cough cough, it is indeed a little better than he was back then. I recognize it, but so what, don't you recognize me too, or do you want me to call you sir? As a true god, you won't be so generous. Yi Tian said lightly. Qin Yan was a little depressed. No one had spoken to him in this way for a long time. Ha ha ha. Qin Yan thought about it and suddenly laughed. Since he became a genius god, everyone has been flattering him all the way. The royal family is optimistic about him. I didn't expect this kid to have this attitude, but his words are rough but his logic is not rough. Not everyone needs to lick his ass. Not humble or arrogant. Well, You have the same demeanor as I did back then. Qin Yan patted Yi Tian on the shoulder and said admiringly, I feel more and more that Yi Tian has the appearance of a god emperor. Quote. Yi Tian was slightly speechless. This guy is a bit familiar. He doesn't want to get too close to Qin Yan. Qin Yan is more or less a template of the Son of Destiny in the last era. The royal family came for him again this time. I always feel that getting close to him will encounter a lot of trouble. Yi Tian just wants to keep a low profile now. Wait until you have the strength to go out and play. At least you have to build a power in the Samsara space, and build a god's domain there to house his Samsara god clan. The name has been thought of, it's called Samsara. If he gets into trouble in the god universe, he can be resurrected in the Samsara space. He can roam around in the Samsara space, and his biggest trump card is that he can be resurrected infinitely in the god universe. Therefore, he wants to imitate this trick in the Samsara space. Create a new god's domain, a double god's domain. This kind of thing is not impossible, but the gods are too lazy to do it. One god's domain is enough, and it will also disperse resources and power if it is separated. If the god's domain battle is lost, it is useless to have an extra god's domain, and the result is still a serious injury. If you encounter a strong enemy that can kill the gods, then the other god's domain will definitely be crushed by the enemy. The only advantage of the double god's domain is that you lose half, but who would disperse their own strength if they can win together? Yes, Yi Tian is different. The double god's domain will only make him more invincible. By then, he will be truly immortal. In his previous life, Yi Tian always remembered a wise saying, only when you are alive can you output. The way of survival is invincible. Those protagonists like Long Aotian have auras of luck, which is too dependent on luck. Yi Tian prefers the style of Han Pao Pao, enough survival, enough shadiness, and enough cruelty. Before the system was awakened, in the peaceful environment of the Age of Gods, Yi Tian, who was born in a commoner family, would choose to be a genius. If Yi Tian was born in the royal family, he would definitely be more low-key than anyone else. Now Yi Tian is not short of resources, and he doesn't want to get too close to Qin Yan and doesn't want to get involved in anything. But Yi Tian still miscalculated. The more he didn't want to get close to Qin Yan, the more Qin Yan admired him. In Qin Yan's heart, he felt that Yi Tian was a good man with a strong character, like him, he thought. It's really too similar, even the talents are so similar. If Yi Tian hadn't shown a little resistance, he would have wanted to take Yi Tian as his apprentice and teach him personally. Speaking of which, Yi Tian, I don't blame you for misusing the space law. Ignorance is not a crime. Remember to use skills next time instead of using the power of the law. But why are you here? In broad daylight, the things in the treasure pavilion are not affordable for ordinary people. Qin Yan asked with a little curiosity. I came here to trade. It's not against the law, but Lord Qin Yan came in person just because I used the space law. Yi Tian thought about it and told the truth. It's useless to lie. It's easy for the other party to find out the problem when lying in front of a quasi-god king level true god. And as long as he traded fairy beans in the treasure pavilion, Qin Yan could check it at any time. Besides, it's not a bad thing for Qin Yan to know about this. If Qin Yan can enter the treasure pavilion with him, no one will dare to attack him. Although this true god is a big trouble, to be honest, he is really generous. Yi Tian's attitude did not make the other party angry, but instead looked at him with some appreciation. With such a generous attitude, it's no wonder that Qin Yan has achieved such success. Haha, you are quite smart, let's go in together. After hearing what Yi Tian said, Qin Yan guessed what Yi Tian was thinking at the first time. It seems that he has a treasure, so he wants to use his identity to intimidate people who may have ulterior motives. Yes, he is very thoughtful and cautious at a young age, which is really like him when he was young. And he came in person because he really had something to do in the treasure pavilion, and he did it on the way. Since he had a fate with Yi Tian, let's go in together. After the two entered the treasure pavilion, they all walked towards the treasure appraisal room. It seems that their destination was the same from the beginning. What a coincidence. The two looked at each other, and Qin Yan couldn't help asking, what treasures are you going to sell? If you trust me, I can help you to judge. It's not a secret. Look, it's this bean. Yi Tian knew that Qin Yan would know about the fairy beans sooner or later, so he took out a fairy bean openly. Qin Yan took a look and thought it was nothing special. After using his soul to sense the life energy inside, he cursed again. Yi Tian, give it to me, sell it to me. Qin Yan knelt down to Yi Tian and begged. Yi Tian, what kind of situation is this? A true god kneeled down to me. This is really difficult to deal with. Yi Tian was a little speechless at this moment. Qin Yan was a quasi-god king. He knelt down when he was told to. He couldn't be stopped. The realm gap was so big that he really couldn't be stopped. He felt a little embarrassed. The customers and sales ladies around the treasure pavilion were stunned, especially the beautiful lady with long legs who introduced the products to Yi Tian last time. She was simply stunned. I didn't expect Yi Tian to have such a noble status. Even the great hero Qin Yan, whom she had admired since childhood, knelt down. Could he be a member of the royal family? Ahem, you get up, so we can discuss it after this. Wait, the SSS level treasure hunting bounty order was issued by you. Yi Tian remembered that the purpose of this trip was to use fairy beans to exchange for 10 high-quality artifacts and the friendship of a peak true god. And Qin Yan was in urgent need of fairy beans, and he was the peak of the peak of the peak of the true god. Could it be his bounty? That's right. Qin Yan used his magical power to condense the surrounding time and space, and then answered, "It's me, I'm here to save my father." He didn't want too many people to know about his father. Your father has reached the realm of true god. I remember that the treasure you offered was used to save the true god. Yi Tian really didn't expect that Qin Yan's father was just an ordinary worker, and he wasn't even a god before Qin Yan rose. To achieve true god in 100 years is considered a genius among geniuses. Qin Yan's father must have cheated. No, Yi Tian suddenly remembered that there was another possibility. There was a true god-level god in Qin Yan's kingdom of gods. In that case, sacrifice the true god to create a true god. However, the true god obtained by transferring power is not strong, and the kingdom of gods is very weak. It just allows Qin Yan's father to have the power to protect himself. And it is not cost-effective, and it will also reduce Qin Yan's combat effectiveness. You are really a genius. You thought of it so quickly. But you were wrong this time. The true god who was sacrificed died in a battle. His godhead was also broken. Before he died, he transferred his origin to my father. Qin Yan explained. He cherishes his subordinate gods very much, because they are all his people, and he will not deliberately sacrifice them. Yi Tian nodded, but he did not doubt it, because Qin Yan did not need to lie to him. This can also explain it. Your father's god body was injured but could not be healed. His old man's god domain, should be said that the kingdom of God cannot support his god body to heal itself. Yi Tian analyzed. The kingdom of God is immortal, and the gods are immortal. Even if the gods are destroyed, as long as the kingdom of God is still there, even if the kingdom of God is severely damaged, as long as the kingdom of God is repaired, it can be fully revived. It is rare to heal the god's body. Because gods generally need to heal their own god's body, this also leads to the fact that there is no elixir that can heal the god's body for a while. Now that the whole story is clear, Yi Tian has nothing to hesitate about. I agree to this deal. Thank you, I swear by my godhead that I will never forget your kindness. The 10 top-grade artifacts are in this ring. Qin Yan promised solemnly and handed the reward to Yi Tian. Yi Tian smiled slightly. The goal was achieved. Although there were some problems, mainly because of coincidence, the result was good. And it was more profitable than expected. Because Qin Yan's combat power is at the level of God King, not just the peak of true God. The top-grade artifact he gave is definitely not weak. By the way, I have another thing I want to ask you. Yi Tian suddenly remembered something and said, "What's the matter? As long as it can be said, I can tell you." Qin Yan was in a good mood and decided to tell everything as long as it did not involve any ancient secrets. The royal family came this time, it's not because of your father's matter. Yi Tian asked. The royal family does have a treasure to save my father, but the price is too high. If I have no choice this time, I can only agree. But you don't have to worry, the royal family will not care about such a small matter. As for the real big thing, it really has something to do with you. Qin Yan said solemnly, it's related to me. Yi Tian pointed at himself. Did the royal family come to Yangcheng for him? Well, to be precise, it is related to the contemporary Tianzhou. This matter is very complicated. I made a contribution this time because I discovered a new cosmic coordinate and escaped alive. My comrade in arms, my father, was severely injured there. The source of life was devoured and his lifespan was greatly reduced. Those monsters who claimed to be supreme regarded us all as prey. Qin Yan said with memories, that universe is very special and perverted. Even the God King cannot live forever. He can only live for 20,000 years at most. Therefore, after returning, my father was also restricted by the laws of the world. Dao injuries are difficult to deal with, and it is difficult for outsiders to help. Even if I practice the law of life, it will not work. My law will be instantly wiped out by the Dao injury. A life God King gave me a suggestion that I need a treasure that can instantly heal the wounds of the divine body and is full of vitality to save my father. Other life-saving and life-extending treasures can only barely prolong his life. To be honest, in order to prolong my father's life, I am almost bankrupt. Haha, fortunately I met you before the desperate situation. Qin Yan smiled, but there was no regret, but tears of excitement almost fell. He seems to be a filial son. But Yi Tian was not moved by him at this moment, but was thinking about a question. In a special universe where even the God King cannot live forever, the monster who claims to be the supreme treats the gods as prey. He made great contributions just because he escaped. Even the God King cannot deal with the Dao injury. The God King is at least at the galaxy level. Then it can't be the Zetian universe. Yi Tian was shocked. The information is so obvious, it's almost a foregone conclusion. At this time, Yi Tian looked at Qin Yan with a different look. His luck was strong, he was so lucky, and he could still escape. The Great Emperor and the God King should be at the same level. The Great Emperor may be more powerful, but he can't kill the God King. There are a lot of great emperors in that universe who cut themselves with a knife, and after cutting themselves with a knife, they sublimate to the level of Qin Yan. Qin Yan's ability to cause trouble and escape really makes Yi Tian wonder if he is the son of luck in this universe of gods, if there really is a son of luck in this universe. But Yi Tian didn't know the situation at that time. In the end, it was a fairy with peerless elegance and unparalleled in ancient and modern times who took action to help Qin Yan escape. Otherwise, even if there were 10 Qin Yans, they would definitely be dead. By the way, what do these major events have to do with me? I am just an ordinary demigod. After hearing this secret, Yi Tian didn't think that this matter had anything to do with him. Haha, you are just ordinary. Qin Yan couldn't help but complain in his heart. After a pause, he looked at Yi Tian deeply and said, "Let me tell you this, we can't enter that universe. Not only us, but even gods with a realm higher than 1 star lower gods can't enter. Now you know the purpose of the royal family." Now it was Yi Tian's turn to curse. Qin Yan had hinted so clearly, if he still didn't know what the royal family was planning to do when they came to Yangcheng, he would be an idiot. Genius. Select geniuses to explore the Zetian universe. It would be best if the gate of time and space could be opened, so that the army of gods could rush in and conquer that universe. And Yi Tian is the first genius of the contemporary era who would bear the brunt. It seems that I am still too famous. Yi Tian dragged his chin and murmured. He originally wanted to develop in a low-key manner, but his strength did not allow it. Young man, it is right to be low-key, but some things are inevitable. I was like you back then, thinking of pretending to be a pig and eating a tiger, pretending to be a cup silently, but you are gold and will always shine. Under the gaze of everyone, you can't keep a low profile for life. Qin Yan recalled with some sighs. He also wanted to be a young man quietly back then. But his competitors, who were jealous of his tall, rich and handsome, relatives, friends, and confidants, always caused him a lot of trouble. What can he do? Be a turtle? Impossible. Then he can only kill the other party. One by one, they rushed up to slap him in the face, and after beating the younger ones, the older ones came. It's hard not to be famous. In other words, I don't have the right to choose in this matter. Yi Tian looked at Qin Yan deeply and said lightly, "Don't look at me like that. You've done me a great favor, otherwise I wouldn't tell you the inside story, or even the detailed plan in advance. You can decide whether to go or not, but you should know the consequences of not going." Qin Yan understood the meaning in Yi Tian's eyes in a second, but he still explained. He didn't want to risk saving his father's benefactor, but if Yi Tian really didn't go, it would be really bad for Yi Tian's future. People would treat Yi Tian as a coward, the royal family wouldn't say anything on the surface but would definitely look down on Yi Tian, and the fishing boats would even morally blackmail Yi Tian. After all, Yi Tian is the #1 genius of the contemporary era. The burden of fame. Haha, it's nothing more than some moral blackmail, but it can't affect me. You should tell me the detailed plan first. If the benefits outweigh the disadvantages, you can consider it. Yi Tian is not afraid of moral blackmail or anything like that, nor does he care about other people's eyes. He only cares about interests. Very good. Although you haven't become a god yet, you do understand the core of the world of gods, which is interests. Many gods can even sacrifice their loved ones for interests. You should have a deep understanding of this. Qin Yan looked at Yi Tian again with appreciation and praised him generously. Yi Tian immediately thought of Linla, the senior who cheated him. Linla really took good care of him back then, and he really regarded Linla as a friend, otherwise he would not have been deceived. Therefore, he would never let Linla go and must kill him. The person you want to kill will also participate in this election. You have many opportunities. Qin Yan then revealed a little information to Yi Tian, as if he had known that Yi Tian would kill Linla. Yi Tian was not surprised. Before today, Qin Yan and the royal family had listed Yi Tian as a key candidate in the Zishan plan. Then the information about Yi Tian from childhood to adulthood was naturally investigated very clearly. However, as a guard, since you know that Linla is cheating, why don't you catch him, but encourage me to kill him? Yi Tian was a little suspicious that Qin Yan was fishing for law enforcement. In the age of gods, internal fighting must be prohibited. Even if you win the war in the god realm, you are not allowed to kill. At most, you can beat the opponent into a vegetable. Haha, you are really cautious. I can tell you that in the world of gods, the strong are respected. The death of a few people is not a big deal at all, provided that it is legitimate. Of course, it must be in a place where killing can be justified, such as the void battlefield, the secret realm of gods, and a life and death duel. Although Lin Li's crime is not punishable by death, you and him are destined to fight to the death. If you don't kill Linla, Linla will definitely try his best to kill you. If you don't die, he won't be able to sleep well, especially since your name as a genius is now resounding throughout the divine continent. After a pause, Qin Yan said indifferently, "As for why I support you in killing Linla, let's not talk about your kindness to me. The value of you and Linla alone cannot be compared, and Lin Li's behavior almost caused me to lose a peerless genius in Shenzhou. I also want to kill him with my own hands. Even the royal family thinks so. Of course, don't think that I and the royal family tacitly allow you to take revenge and relax. If you are not strong enough and are killed by Linla, the royal family will not care, and I can't help you take revenge, because at that time Lin Li's value is higher than yours, and the royal family will not let a genius who can kill you die in my hands. I was able to achieve what I have today because of this system of the royal family. I don't know how many gods wanted to kill me back then. The world of gods is like this, far more cruel and indifferent than you think." Yi Tian was silent for a long time after hearing this. The earth of the ancestral star was so peaceful, and all gods were equal. Even demigods who could never become gods in their lifetime had basic rights and interests. But the world of gods was essentially a world of the jungle. Divine law could prohibit infighting, but it could not prohibit love, hatred, and even more so, it could not prohibit disputes over interests. The royal family valued not Yi Tian as a person, but his talent and his value. Although Qin Yan admired him very much and treated him very well, although it was mainly because of his kindness, his talent also played a very critical role. And what Qin Yan said also reminded Yi Tian that he could be low-key, but he must show his value. As for Linla, since he would come back to die in this selection, Yi Tian would kill him. By the way, let the royal family see what a true genius is. I will kill Linla. After that, Yi Tian continued to ask, "Let's go back to the topic just now, your detailed plan for selecting Tianzhou." Very good. Seeing that Yi Tian understood what he just said, Qin Yan smiled slightly, and then said seriously, this time, Tianzhou selection is for your batch of demigods who are going to take the college entrance examination, and even your next batch of genius juniors, and the one-star gods of the previous class, such as your enemy Linla. He is lucky because the cultivation limit to enter that universe is just one-star gods. Can the seniors with one-star gods also participate? Besides me, is there anyone who can challenge gods by leaps and bounds? Yi Tian was a little surprised. It's not that he is arrogant. The gap between demigods and gods is definitely not as big as the gap between true gods and god kings, but the difficulty of leaping is higher. Because if they practice step by step, most high school students will open up the god realm before the college entrance examination. The initial race of the god realm is a small tribe, almost starting from scratch, and the one-star god is also a god, with the most basic kingdom of god and basic laws. If a small tribe fights a big empire, the people of the big empire can't be killed even if they stand there for them to kill, and they will die of exhaustion first. Before Yi Tian obtained the space law, he didn't dare to say that he would definitely win the primary gods. In the era of gods, no one has ever achieved a demigod defeating a primary god, not even Qin Yan back then. Haha, that's true, but those geniuses were not as good as you, but for this selection, the families behind them spent a lot of money. Don't underestimate the foundation of the gods, which is not comparable to Zhao Xiaorui's nouveau riche. To give a simple example, if Mu Qinger's family is willing, they can let her break through to the first star of the gods overnight. Qin Yan reminded, but the price is very high, and forcibly improving her strength will affect her future, and her strength will not be too strong. Yi Tian said. That's true, but you can't be careless, you are very strong personally, but your god realm race really needs to be improved. When Qin Yan remembered that Yi Tian's god realm race was a slime, the corners of his mouth twitched fiercely. This is outrageous. He didn't dare to play like this back then. What's the next plan? The selection range is so large. There are many people to be selected this time. It seems that I am not the only one. At this time, Yi Tian was a little curious. The geniuses of each family were dispatched. Even if they were not as good as him, there were so many people. It felt that one more or one less would not be much. No, it really is you who must be selected. Before I met you, you were just the number one seed. Now I think it is absolutely necessary to have you. If the royal family knew your current strength, they would definitely not be able to choose you, because you don't know the rules of that universe. Qin Yan said, sorry, I know it very well. Yi Tian wanted to say this. At this time, Qin Yan didn't care about Yi Tian's micro-expression, and continued to explain seriously. In that universe, every 30,000 years, a strong man who suppresses all laws will appear. They are those monsters who call themselves supreme. They are invincible in the world, suppressing the 9 heavens and 10 earths, and suppressing the existence of the laws of the universe with their own power. They can also integrate the Tianxin mark of the universe, so there will be no second such monster in the same era. But this is not the key. The key is the Tianxin mark, so our plan is to cultivate a supreme, and after he integrates the Tianxin mark, open the door of time and space, so that our army of Shenzhou can kill in. Maybe you will think why it is so difficult for us to enter that universe, why not force an attack, but the fact is that it is not possible. I tell you, there is a powerful god above the god king of the zodiac system in the Western Empire. He noticed what happened in this void battlefield, and then he was backfired to death when he was deducing the past and future of that universe. Before he died, he said 2 words. God Emperor. Qin Yan said here, his expression was extremely serious. I don't know if he saw the God Emperor, or if there is a God Emperor level strongman in that universe, but other information related to the God Emperor. But it is related to the word God Emperor, we can't help but fight. Now you understand why the royal family came to Yangcheng, why I said it must be you, your talent, you are most likely to stand out and become the supreme. I see, isn't it just for me to prove the supreme? Yi Tian said calmly, but in his heart, another piece of information set off a storm. God Emperor, could it be that the guy deduced to the desolate immortal emperor? Hiss. Then his death is not unjust. Got it, aren't you surprised? Qin Yan didn't expect that he revealed so many secrets, but Yi Tian was indifferent. I'm already surprised. Yi Tian said leisurely. Human words. Qin Yan curled his lips. Does this look like surprise? It seems that you are better than I thought. Talented people emerge in every generation. Qin Yan suddenly felt a little older. Although he was only 100 years old, he was considered a young man among the gods. The last question, that universe is related to the God Emperor. Why didn't the God Emperor take action? You said that it is impossible to attack now. Could it be that the God Emperors have, hiss? Yi Tian was a little shocked when he said it. The 5 great God Emperors seemed to have been mentioned in textbooks. As for how long they haven't appeared, it's terrifying to think about it carefully. This is a good question, but I am not qualified to know, so don't ask. It's dangerous to know too much, Qin Yan said very seriously. Did he really not know? Not entirely, but he couldn't say. After a pause, he changed the subject, murmured with some emotion and yearning. I don't know if there is a realm above the God Emperor. Yes, Yi Tian said affirmatively. There is a realm above the immortal emperor. If the God Emperor is equal to the immortal emperor, there must be a higher realm. How do you know? Qin Yan was stunned. How could Yi Tian be so sure of something he didn't even know? Because the Tao has no end, Yi Tian said lightly. The Tao has no end, indeed. Qin Yan nodded, but did not doubt Yi Tian's words. The Tao has no end. He also said this when he was young. Next, let's talk about the benefits of participating in the plan. After knowing the cause and effect of the matter, Yi Tian has already understood the plan of Shenzhou and even the entire God Earth. Since the Western Empire has already known about this matter, and a god above the God King has died, it will definitely not let it go. It is only a matter of time for the other 3 empires to get involved. There are many competitors in the Zetian universe. Now whoever enters first will have the time advantage. Shenzhou will definitely reward its own geniuses, and then quickly decide on the quota, otherwise it will not be able to compete with the other side, and the benefits given by the other empires will definitely be countless, and they may even poach Shenzhou's talents. Haha, the Shenzhou royal family is famous for its generosity. I can't even name them all. I will just mention the most important reward, which is the reward for the first place in this selection. Qin Yan didn't dare to say it when he said this, but wrote it on the back of Yi Tian's hand with divine text, and then disappeared in front of Yi Tian. Emperor's Scripture. After Yi Tian left the treasure pavilion, he looked at the divine text mark on the back of his hand, and his mouth slightly raised. The royal family is really generous this time. They actually used the Emperor's Scripture, created by the ancestral dragon God Emperor as a reward. That is a God Emperor level technique. The bids of the other 4 generations of empires are definitely not higher, at most they are equal. The Emperor Scripture was created by the God Emperor. It is the secret of the royal family. It is said that it can not only improve personal strength, but also improve the combat effectiveness of the races in the God realm after practicing. As the races in the God realm become stronger, the strength of the gods will also increase. Although it is impossible to reach the level of the God Emperor by practicing, as long as the comprehension is not bad, the God King is a sure thing. This is also the reason why the royal family is invincible in the world. No one knows how much foundation the royal family has. Although Qin Yan said that the royal family will only give the second half of the volume after completing the task, there is an additional condition, but the first half of the volume can be practiced to a higher level than the God King, and it is invincible at the same level. It must be said that Yi Tian was moved. Because one emperor scripture can be equivalent to the resources of countless copies of the reincarnation space. If the God Emperor is equal to the immortal emperor, it is a practice of the same level as Huang's, Heihua Zizai. First place, I'm sure. As for the risks of entering the Zetian universe, Yi Tian has a big plan. I wonder if the Zetian copy has been opened in the reincarnation space. If so, he will be absolutely invincible. Because why does Yi Tian want to enter the Zetian universe from the void battlefield? Isn't it wonderful to log in the reincarnation space? Divine Realm, Metaverse, Tsunade, it's time to get up and show you what a treasure is. Yi Tian saw that Tsunade was still sleeping in the legendary city of Atlantis, and hurriedly woke her up. Well, what treasure have I not seen? Tsunade stretched her waist lazily, with a helpless tone. What treasures could Yi Tian not have seen? Really, Yi Tian saw that Tsunade did not believe it, and then materialized a set of equipment like a fairy in the heavenly palace from the space ring. Colorful fairy clothes, colorful wings, colorful fairy sword. colorful fairy boots, colorful fairy mirror. All 5 sets are top-grade artifacts, true God equipment, and they all contain the law of life imprinted by Qin Yan. Much stronger than the average top-grade divine weapon. So beautiful. Tsunade fell in love with this set of equipment at first sight, and she didn't know its value at all. This is a divine weapon, a top-grade divine weapon, a true God-level equipment. Yi Tian was speechless. I understand. Tsunade put away the entire set of colorful fairy clothes, without being polite, because she wanted to repay Yi Tian with action. Time passed by, and the sky of the metaverse also entered the night. Wow, God Emperor, what realm is that? After learning what happened today from Yi Tian, Tsunade was shocked. She was a little tired after repaying the favor, and she suddenly became energetic. Emperor Sutra, the practice of God Emperor. Those who have reached the strength of gods basically push the ninja world, let alone God Emperor. Not sure. Yi Tian thought about it carefully. How could he express what realm God Emperor is at his current level? Just like the realms of universe, omnipotent universe, multiverse, infinite multiverse, super infinite multiverse, etc., Yi Tian only knows the concept but doesn't know how strong it is. Also, the rating of universe may not be applicable to fantasy and prehistoric. In the prehistoric universe, Hongjun did not control the entire universe, and the chaotic world was not Hongjun's territory. Of course, prehistoric also has large and small universes. If you want to truly understand that realm, you must reach that realm first. Even you don't know. Tsunade was a little surprised. In her heart, Yi Tian is omnipotent. It doesn't matter, because I will definitely be stronger than the God Emperor in the future. Yi Tian said confidently. Hehe, as expected, the sky is the sky. Tsunade looked at Yi Tian with longing, and she wanted to repay him again. But at this moment, Yi Tian was suddenly startled. The God Realm connector received many messages, which kept clamoring in his ears. Who is it? Yi Tian was upset by the sudden bombardment of information. He clicked on the message sent by the God Realm connector in the metaverse and his face suddenly turned cold. God Realm War Challenge letter, dozens of letters. Is this an appointment to besiege him tonight? Very good. Yi Tian wants to see who is so desperate. The first high school in Demon Sea City, the top scorer in the mock exam, Lin Tianyi. Imperial God Academy, Class C of the 3rd year, Monitor, Mu Busho. The first middle school in Nandu, Class A of the 6th year, Deputy Monitor Lu Xuan. The first family in the southern district of Haicheng, Nangong Yu. Looking at the signatures on these challenge letters, Yi Tian sneered. What kind of fun is this? I have never heard of it. Who are they? Tsunade didn't understand why these people came to challenge Yi Tian, and so many people fought against one. I don't know any of them, but their levels are all demigod 9 stars, and their races in the god realm are all top-notch, not comparable to trash like Zhao Xiaorui. Yi Tian said leisurely. Demigod 9 stars, that level is almost the same as yours. Tsunade knew that Yi Tian's realm was the great perfection of demigod, but strictly speaking it was still in the category of 9 stars, just one step away from the gods. They have the advantage of numbers, and it is a huge advantage of numbers. Because the number of their god realms is also dozens of times that of Yi Tian. About 50 people. The reason for challenging me is very simple. As long as they beat me and destroy my God Realm race, they can eliminate me in the next Tianzhou selection. I will not be eligible to participate in the royal family's award ceremony for Qin Yan at the school. After a pause, Yi Tian sneered. Even if they can't beat me, as long as they kill as many slimes as possible and reduce my God Realm power, it will be considered a success and pave the way for the children of the noble families who participate in the selection. These people are so insidious. Tsunade was immediately angry. These guys were too shameless. It was obvious that they were bullying Yi Tian because he was born in a poor family and was weak. Don't pay attention to these people. Tsunade's first thought was to ignore them, let them provoke, and block the information. No, it's too easy for them to let these rubbish go. If we don't fight them, they will use their family power to spread the word and hit my reputation. Speaking of this, Yi Tian was murderous. Since they are looking for death, I will help them and kill them all, so that they know that I am not easy to mess with. Although these challengers cannot be killed under the restrictions of the God's Domain Connector, as long as their God's domain races die, they will become useless people, which is no different from being dead. As for whether or not to offend the families of these people, Yi Tian doesn't need to consider this at all. Not to mention that the royal family will not allow them to retaliate. Qin Yan still owes him a great favor. And Yi Tian is not afraid of their revenge. On earth, there are the seals of the gods, and no one can do anything. They can only take revenge when they reach the void battlefield. But when Yi Tian enters the void battlefield, he is no longer afraid of them. What's more, Yi Tian has a system that can log into the reincarnation space at any time. If he really encounters unpredictable situations, he will have no problem protecting himself. In terms of life-saving ability, the God Emperor may not be as good as Yi Tian, and there is no need to worry about these trash. Then let's start the war. I haven't killed anyone for a long time, Tsunade said coldly. Tsunade, who has a sage body and sage eyes, has reached the S level, demigod level. Last night, under the radiation of the cosmic energy stone, she awakened her superpowers and telekinesis, and in the metaverse, she has the blessing of Yi Tian's divinity and laws. Tsunade's combat power in the god's domain is stronger than that of an ordinary 9-star demigod. There is no need to be afraid of the races that other demigods have just created. I don't need you this time. I'll try the forbidden technique I just learned. You are a trump card in my god's domain race. When you show up, it's time to kill them. Yi Tian is also very confident in Tsunade's strength, but this time he doesn't plan to let her take action, but to play the impure world reincarnation first. I believe that these self-important geniuses will be surprised. Well, I'll just watch the show this time, but it's a pity that they got a bargain. Tsunade listened to Yi Tian's words and subdued her murderous aura, but she still felt a pity that she couldn't beat up those genius demigods. Cheap, haha, not cheap at all. They want to fight me, so how can the prize be less? Yi Tian's mouth curled up slightly. This time he wanted to take the opportunity to make a fortune. Yi Tian agreed, but if you want to fight him, you have to use 1 million divine crystals as a prize. Those who don't have money, get out. In the royal suite of the 7-star hotel in Yangcheng, several geniuses from the Demon Sea received Yi Tian's request, but they were just shocked by Yi Tian's request. 1 million divine crystals is not a small amount. And it's 1 million per game. At least 50 people challenged him, which means 50 million divine crystals, which is comparable to the worth of some nouveau riche gods who do business. Does this guy have so many divine crystals? No, he only needs 1 million divine crystals. After all, he fights one by one. Then should we agree? Those who dare to challenge Yi Tian are naturally geniuses. Most of these geniuses have their own families, and the rest are instructed by big families. 1 million divine crystals, they can indeed take them out, but most of them will feel a little painful. Agree to him. Those sent by big families with true gods or even god kings as their backers were very straightforward and agreed on the spot. The 1 million was just a test. Even if it was 1 million, they could afford to learn a lesson, and they didn't think they would lose. In the end, the 50 geniuses all agreed to another condition of Yi Tian. That is, they must fight all the way through, and they are not allowed to surrender or quit. Unless Yi Tian loses first. But is that possible? They really agreed. Tsunade didn't expect these 50 warriors to be so confident. Haha, then I have to thank them for giving me money and resources. Yi Tian smiled and wanted to start the battle in the divine realm. But suddenly a divine realm connection request popped up, from his old classmate, Mu Qinger. After Yi Tian defeated Zhao Xiaorui last time, he added Mu Qinger as a friend, but he rarely contacted her in the divine realm. He didn't expect her to appear at this time. You are not here to persuade us to stop fighting, are you? Yi Tian asked directly after agreeing to her visit to the divine realm. Interrupt a fight? Don't I know you? You won't do anything you're not sure of. Mu Qinger chuckled and said, besides, you are making history now, fighting 50 with 1. At present, Lord Qin Yan is only fighting 10 with 1. I just want to witness a miracle. Miracle, that's it, it's not a miracle. Yi Tian didn't think much of it. They were just 50 Spartan warriors who were looking for death. He even insulted Sparta by saying they were Sparta. Hee, I knew you would say that. Mu Qinger seemed to be a little used to Yi Tian's nonsensical words. Hee, maybe, but I still have to witness it with my own eyes, because the royal family is also watching the fight. They also told me that you don't have to hold back or have any scruples. The winner will be rewarded. The royal family again. Yi Tian didn't expect Mu Qinger to come on behalf of the royal family. Haha, it's interesting. This is asking him to kill as much as he can. Since the royal family is so respectful, it's better to obey than to be respectful. Yi Tian said lightly. The current royal family is undoubtedly beneficial to Yi Tian, so he should use it as much as possible and give it some face. When the royal family is no longer useful to Yi Tian, that is, when Yi Tian is fully grown, then the royal family will look at his face. Okay, the battle will start in 10 minutes. After conveying the message, Mu Qinger came to the ocean city of Atlantis in the metaverse. Looking at Tsunade, who had just noticed her, she said with some surprise, "Wow, sister, you are so beautiful." "Sister, you are also very beautiful, like a fairy." Tsunade saw that Mu Qinger was so talkative, so she naturally chatted with her. Soon, the two women became familiar with each other. Yi Tian was slightly speechless. He didn't expect Mu Qinger and Tsunade to chat so well. Mu Qinger was not a talkative person at ordinary times. Of course, he believed that Tsunade knew what to say and what not to say, so he didn't care. Yi Tian didn't care why Mu Qinger specially chatted with Tsunade, because she wouldn't know Tsunade's identity as a reincarnation anyway. 10 minutes later, the battle of the divine domain began. Yi Tian connected with the divine domains of 50 geniuses, but under the majesty of the royal family and the self-esteem of those geniuses, they didn't dare to rush forward. After all, it's very unfair to fight 1 against 50. If you don't even follow the rules of the round-robin battle, it's really too embarrassing. These genius teenagers are unwilling to do this, because the round-robin battle is at least 1-on-1. If it's really 50 against 1, wouldn't it be tacitly acknowledged that they are not as good as Yi Tian? It's just that the geniuses don't want to rush forward, but Yi Tian said. "It's not fair for you 50 to fight me 1. How about this, you all come together." Quote. Instantly, the whole place was silent, as if it had turned into a library. 50 against 1 is not fair, and they agree, but why do you ask them to fight together? How do you calculate this unfairness? Quote. Mu Qinger couldn't believe it. Tsunade said with a smile, "I guessed he would do this." In the sky above Yangcheng No. 1 High School, in the royal ferry boat, a fairy figure as beautiful as a flying swan appeared, and Wuxia's fairy face was slightly stunned. Obviously, she was also surprised by Yi Tian's words. Qinger is right, Yi Tian really doesn't like to speak human words. On the silver throne next to her, a little loli with silver hair and twin ponytails said happily, "He, I said, brother Yi Tian is very interesting." Yeah, Wuxia Shenying nodded rarely and recognized this sentence. It is indeed an interesting soul. Divine realm, metaverse. Yi Tian, don't get too carried away. Stop being arrogant. You just killed Zhao Xiaorui in 1 second, who among us can't do it? Arrogant, underestimate the enemy, overestimating one's own ability. Are you worthy of being the representative of the genius of our generation? That's right, you still want to fight 50 of us, I can deal with you with 1 hand. Because of Yi Tian's provocation, these geniuses were angry and contemptuous. Yi Tian's words just now were completely contemptuous of them. They couldn't stand it. Haha, since you don't want to fight together, don't cry and cry for your parents if you lose. Yi Tian gave them a chance, a round-robin battle, too unchallenging. 1 against 50, you have to show some real skills. They won't die so ugly next time. It's a pity that they don't listen to good advice and suffer in front of them. I gave you a chance, but you are useless. Yi Tian sneered, and was too lazy to talk nonsense. He directly picked an opponent's divine domain and ordered 5,000 slimes to attack. Oh, you dare to take the initiative. Is it because my divine domain is also the ocean? The opponent chosen by Yi Tian is Nangong Yu. The Nangong family once produced a God King level sea god, so his divine domain is also a Wangyang Sea. But his temple was built on the sea, magnificent and earthy, completely incompatible with the color of the sea, and the taste is too low. It was annoying, so Yi Tian chose him. But this guy seemed to have misunderstood. Haha, you are so stupid, Yi Tian. Do you think that the terrain of the God realm with the same attributes can't weaken your slime army? Roar, Sea King Palace. Nangongyu activated the power of the temple, causing a tsunami, and submerged Yi Tian's 5,000 slime army in one fell swoop. The power of the demigod 9 stars is indeed not to be underestimated. In addition, the race of the God realm is the top of the same level, the resources temporarily donated by the family, the blessing of the Sea King Temple and other factors. The scale of the tsunami caused by Nangongyu is comparable to Whitebeard in the world of One Piece. Whitebeard's tsunami can instantly submerge an island, and the islands thousands of miles away can feel the vibration. Before a normal demigod is admitted to the University of Gods, it is impossible for the divine power to cause a tsunami of this scale. Because of the limitations of divine power, most civilian demigods will take a year or two to become gods after being admitted to the University of Gods. But Nangongyu, his power is now comparable to that of a college student, and it is only a matter of time before he becomes a god. This Nangongyu is quite strong. Seeing the tsunami rolling in the opposite god's domain, Tsunade felt that she could only perform water escape at her full strength. Is this the genius of a big family? He has strength, resources, and knows how to use the terrain to consume Yi Tian first, and then fight back. Yi Tian should have a way. Seeing Yi Tian's calm expression, Mu Qinger immediately looked forward to it. At this moment, Yi Tian smiled slightly. No way, you just flipped the table after dealing the cards. Yes, for Nangongyu's behavior, he called it flipping the table. Soldiers against soldiers, generals against generals, and kings against kings. In normal God's domain battles, gods add buffs, use props and commands. It is a bit of a loss of style to take action personally, and this behavior is equivalent to flipping the table, forcing the opposite god to fight him one-on-one. Haha, Yi Tian, you regret it now, you can only blame yourself for being stupid. All is fair in war. To tell you the truth, I am best at individual combat. Nangongyu said proudly. Oh, then you can leave, next one. Yi Tian said, and activated the skill, Telekinesis Flying Thunder God's second stage. What do you mean? Before Nangongyu could react, he felt a sinking in the back of his head, as if he had suffered a serious injury, and fainted directly. Yi Tian seemed to have not moved at all, just looking at Nangongyu with a smile. It seemed that Nangongyu fainted because of his words. Hiss. Except for Tsunade, everyone in the audience was stunned. What's going on? Nangongyu fainted. Yi Tian cheated. Something's wrong. My soul seemed to sense a moment of spatial ripples just now. No way. Even if Yi Tian has spatial skills, and it's so fast that our demigod eyes can't see it clearly, it's impossible to hide it from our souls. Is it the law of space? Are you kidding me? Most of the genius challengers were a little nervous at this moment, because Nangongyu was defeated too fast, and they didn't see the situation clearly. Under the blessing of the law of space, these demigod geniuses couldn't react at all. Everyone, stay calm. Yi Tian's race in the God realm has been completely wiped out. He's in big trouble. At this time, Lin Tianyi, the top scorer in the mock exam of Mahai City, calmed down and smiled confidently. Really? Yi Tian smiled and pointed behind him. 5,000 slimes were suspended in the air, none of them died, and all returned to Yi Tian, acting cute. Don't be too quick to slap me in the face. How is it possible? Even if slimes are immune to ordinary physical attacks, the tsunami water pressure just now can crush them. What on earth did that rubbish Nangongyu do? Lin Tianyi's face was very ugly, as if he had eaten a fly. You'll know if you try it. Seeing that Lin Tianyi was so pretentious, Yi Tian immediately waved his hand, and the slime army attacked his divine domain. Lin Tianyi's face changed. He didn't expect that he was not only slapped in the face for pretending just now, but also targeted. This time he really lost both the lady and the army. Kill them. Yi Tian took out a high-grade divine sword from the void, emitting lightning, and the sword pointed directly at Lin Tianyi's divine domain, the sword world. 5,000 slimes flew into the air under Yi Tian's command and killed towards the sword world. His slimes can fly autonomously. No, it's telekinesis. His slimes have superpowers. Lin Tianyi is worthy of being the top scorer in the mock exam of Demon Sea City. After a careful investigation by his soul, he found the reason why the slimes were so weird. And Lin Tianyi's shout instantly awakened the remaining 48 geniuses. Superpowers? No way. Slimes also have this kind of talent. Isn't this the S-level talent of the Zerg and telekinetic races? What on earth did this guy's slime eat to grow up? Why is the awakened talent so weird? Before, the slime floated behind Yi Tian. I thought it was controlled by Yi Tian. No wonder the tsunami couldn't destroy them. Using telekinesis to create a zero-gravity telekinesis shield can dissipate the pressure of the tsunami. Then, Yi Tian must also have telekinesis. Has he developed telekinesis to the level of telekinesis teleportation? In that case, Nangong Yu may not be able to react. If your analysis is true, his God Realm race has only awakened for a few days, and he has used telekinesis to this extent in such a short time. I have to admit that Yi Tian is indeed worthy of the title of the first contemporary genius of Shenzhou. Humph, let's see if he can get past Lin Tianyi first. Many geniuses have more or less recognized Yi Tian's strength at this moment, except for Mu Busho of the Royal God Academy, who is still unconvinced. Mu Busho said coldly in his heart, I absolutely cannot let Yi Tian get away with it. Why, princess, I will never allow it. At this moment, the sword whirled. 5,000 slime troops flew in the air and killed Lin Tianyi. Even if they have superpowers, slimes are still slimes. Sword Emperor's tomb. Lin Tianyi sacrificed the temple of the sword world, a special domain formed by thousands of rusty swords. In the middle was an ancient, vicissitudes, and broken giant sword. There was a kind of sword intent condensed by the supreme law on the broken giant sword, which was indestructible and extremely sharp. Of course, Lin Tianyi could not drive the sword intent on the giant sword at all. Because it was the imperial sword left by his ancestor, Tianyu's sword emperor. Even if Lin Tianyi, a mere demigod, could exert a little bit of its power, it would be extremely evil. Unfortunately, he couldn't do it. Unless this divine emperor sword awakens on its own and protects him, Lin Tianyi has not yet been recognized by the divine sword, and the rules do not allow it. Once Lin Tianyi uses this thing, he will be forcibly suppressed by the divine domain connector and be directly eliminated. Besides, Yi Tian is not afraid of this sword. Why did this guy sacrifice this thing? To show off his wealth? Yi Tian frowned slightly. With the information prompt of the system, he knew that this was a divine weapon of the Divine Emperor. Divine Emperor is the first realm above the Divine King, which is equivalent to the Red Dust Immortal in Xuanwan Zishan. This Divine Emperor sword is an immortal weapon. Although it is incomplete, this power is not something that Lin Tianyi can drive at all. It is also a foul to drive it. Besides, Yi Tian has 5 top-grade divine weapons given by Qin Yan. Under the forging of Qin Yan's law to rival the Divine King, it is enough to rival the Divine King level artifact, so he is not afraid of this incomplete Divine Emperor sword. I just don't know what Lin Tianyi is doing. You are scared now, right? At this time, Lin Tianyi said confidently and proudly. Yi Tian's face was full of black lines. Afraid? What the hell? You used the broken sword left by your ancestors just to scare people. Is this the descendant of the God Emperor? That's it. Idiot. Yi Tian gave Lin Tianyi a direct evaluation. He's not weak at all. Yi Tian ignored the momentum of the broken sword of the God Emperor, and Lin Tianyi's sense of superiority was immediately frustrated, but he changed his mind and sneered. You are not afraid of my God Emperor sword tomb, but it doesn't mean that your slimes are not afraid. Under the influence of such a divine weapon, how much combat power can your slimes still use? Kill them all. Come out, Silver Blood Clan. Lin Tianyi gave an order, and thousands of sleeping ancient swords in the Sword Emperor tomb burst into silver light, and then awakened, turning into dazzling silver lightsabers, killing the slime army. The 5,000 slime army was not afraid at all, and deployed a telekinetic barrier to fight with the thousands of lightsabers on the opposite side. Bang 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 bang. The telekinesis and sword energy collided, and countless sparks suddenly burst out in the sky, and the battle became fierce all of a sudden. Very good. Crush them, little cuties, come on. In the metaverse Atlantis, Tsunade cheered for the slimes. Mu Qinger on the side was not as confident as Tsunade, but looked worried. Oh no, I was just looking for where Lin Tianyi's God Realm race was hiding, but I didn't expect it to be the Silver Blood Clan. It seems that Yi Tian is in trouble. Are the Silver Blood clan very powerful? Tsunade asked curiously. Well, they are a race with high potential, also known as the True God clan. Their upper limit is the True God. Therefore, if the gods of this race are cultivated, there is a high probability that they will be promoted to the God King if they do not die prematurely and have sufficient resources. After a pause, Mu Chinger continued to explain. The blood of the Silver Blood clan is silver, so it is named after it. This race has 3 first-level talents: invulnerability, metallization, and possession of metal. The second-level talent is to control light and heat energy attacks, and the attack power is the top of the second level. It is obvious that Lin Tiany's God Realm race has reached the second level, with a number of 1,000. With the blessing of Lin Tiany's temple, it is enough to easily kill the third-level race and match the fourth-level race. This mock exam champion is really amazing. Oh, that's really amazing. Tsunade thought to herself, S-level combat power is really good, but she can easily suppress it with just one Super Shinra Tensai. If it doesn't work, just add a few more Tianai Junction. If it doesn't work, then use Yin and Yang Escape, the power of life and death. These Silver Blood clan with only 4th level combat power are still far behind the real S-level life. But Tsunade doesn't know if the slimes can stop it. At this moment, in the Sword World, the battle between the slimes and the Silver Blood clan is coming to an end. Destroy them all. Silver Wheel Lightsaber Flash. Lin Tianyi added divine power to the thousands of Silver Blood clan fused lightsabers, forming a huge energy light wheel, condensing enough power to destroy a city with one blow. Then the destructive light burst out. Boom boom boom. Under the bombardment of the destructive light, 5,000 slimes merged, making a sound of activating the telekinetic barrier to resist. Bang! The huge energy collided, making a shocking roar, and the two sides were deadlocked for a while. The sky was full of flames, illuminating the entire night sky. Why is this telekinetic barrier so thick? Lin Tianyi gritted his teeth, exhausted his divine power to activate a trace of power from the broken sword of the temple, and roared, "Broken sword, help me!" Boom boom boom. Boom boom boom. Boom 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 boom. After the sword intent of the broken sword was activated, Lin Tianyi sent out 3 more rays of destruction. Bang! 5,000 slimes merged into a big slime, and then exploded. Is this the limit? You worked hard. Yi Tian praised the exploding slimes. Without his help, the 5,000 slimes could only do this. On the opposite side, Lin Tianyi thought he had won and laughed wildly. Ha ha ha, I won, Yi Tian, I won. Are you done laughing? Yi Tian pouted and said, why, you don't want to admit defeat, and still want to fight me in a duel? If you want to fight me in a duel, I'll be there anytime. Lin Tianyi sneered. Is there such a good thing? Yi Tian smiled. He had never seen such a request in his life, and immediately launched the second stage of Flying Thunder God again. Bang! How is it possible? Lin Tianyi felt the back of his head sink, and then he followed Nangong Yu's footsteps. Okay, next one. Yi Tian clapped his hands lightly, one person at a time. It's really cool to fight in a duel. Hiss. The geniuses in the audience were stunned again and took a breath of cold air. What's going on? How could Lin Tianyi, who originally had an absolute advantage, be killed in seconds? After a while, Mu Busho came back to his senses and pointed at Yi Tian and cursed. Yi Tian, you are cheating, you have no martial ethics, you attacked by surprise. Lin Tianyi was careless and did not dodge, otherwise you would have lost. According to the rules of the God Realm War, if the entire race of the God Realm is wiped out, you lose. I don't have martial ethics. You are 50 against 1, and I didn't say anything, and you still say I don't have martial ethics. Yi Tian laughed angrily, pointed behind him, and said, and you said that my race in the God Realm was wiped out. Open your dog eyes and see whose race in the God Realm was wiped out. Almost at the same time, a sound of, sounded behind him, as if to cheer for the master. 5,000 slimes were unharmed. And at this moment, they all stuck to the 1,000 dim lightsabers possessed by the Silver Blood clan. The lightsabers were dim and almost extinguished because of the loss of the master's divine power, and would soon be swallowed and dissolved by the slimes. What? How is that possible? Mu Busho and the others saw that Yi Tian's slime had been blown apart. Even if it is immune to the force of physical explosion, the water-attributed slime will evaporate when hit by light and heat attacks. Regeneration. His slime has an S-level talent for regeneration. Unless there is not a single cell left, it will be immortal. A genius recalled the very rare talent in the slime race and thought of the correct answer. The slimes cheered and shouted one by one, showing a smug expression. Because the 1,000 silver-blooded people had been swallowed by them and dissolved completely, they could split at any time and their number would increase again. Yi Tian's God Realm race is getting stronger and stronger. How can we fight it? Mu Busho and the others looked gloomy. Yi Tian. Mu Busho's face was so gloomy that blood was about to drip. Before the battle, he thought Yi Tian's strength was nothing big, and he could beat Yi Tian alone. Although Mu Busho also admitted that Yi Tian's talent was indeed powerful, and he played slime to perfection and could turn decay into magic, the combat effectiveness of the God Realm race was indeed Yi Tian's shortcoming. If it was Yi Tian's God Realm race during Zhao Xiaorui's period, it would indeed be a level lower than the geniuses of these big families who were crazy about resources and improving their strength. Because any one of these 50 geniuses could kill Zhao Xiaorui in seconds. Now among the geniuses in Shenzhou, if there is any genius who can't kill Zhao Xiaorui in seconds, they are embarrassed to be called geniuses. Zhao Xiaorui didn't expect that he had become a unit of combat effectiveness calculation among geniuses. And in the near future, it will be included in textbooks. It will be passed down through the ages, although it is not a good reputation. Of course, this is off topic. The current situation is that Yi Tian is not only invincible in his personal strength, but his God Realm race is also very powerful, which makes the opponent at a loss. What should I do? S-level telekinesis and S-level regeneration ability. These 2 points alone can make slimes get rid of racial restrictions, plus the powerful reproductive ability, enough to match the innate excellent God Realm race, and these slimes have been fighting in the opponent's God Realm, not taking advantage of the field advantage of their own God Realm. And these slimes may not be all of Yi Tian's strength. I can sense that Yi Tian got a demigod in the god's domain. Could it be that he created the high priest? Quote, demigod. He created a demigod-level priest so quickly. He has only opened up the god's domain for a few days. What we haven't done, he has done. The high priest's strength is close to the existence of the lord of the god's domain, similar to the pope of the kingdom of God. It can't be created with resources. Can't only gods create high priests? They need to have a complete conception of their own kingdom of God's beliefs. I don't know, maybe this is genius. Now is not the time to praise the opponent, let's talk about what to do first. What can we do? We can't win the battle in the god's domain, and there is no way to survive in a single fight with the gods. Lin Tianyi's personal strength is the strongest among us, and the race in the god's domain can also be ranked in the top 3. He was killed in seconds. Any one of us going up to fight with Yi Tian has no meaning except to strengthen Yi Tian. Yes, in a round-robin battle, we can't beat Yi Tian at all. Although I don't want to admit it, under the gods, Yi Tian is indeed invincible. After discussing for a long time, Mu Busho and other geniuses had no good ideas, and none of them dared to act rashly. Although they were a little arrogant, they were not fools. Now they could see that any one of them had no chance of winning a duel with Yi Tian. The races in the divine domain could not beat him, and the gods were killed in a single duel. What to do, what to do? The winner has been decided. In Atlantis, Mu Qinger sighed lightly, and her eyes looking at Yi Tian had an inexplicable meaning. Too strong. Originally, she thought Lin Tianyi was going to win, but she didn't expect him to be killed in a second. And Yi Tian only made a move from beginning to end, and it was a decisive kill. To compete with gods, ordinary one-star gods can't beat Yi Tian. Mu Qinger made a bold judgment in her heart, that is, Yi Tian already has the strength of a one-star god, and is a leader among one-star gods, and even encounters 2 to 3-star gods. It is not without the ability to fight. The 3-star god is a watershed, equivalent to the realm of the medium fantasy world in the void battlefield. Primary gods of 4 to 6 stars and 7 to 9 stars are not comparable to primary gods of 1 to 3 stars. It's just that Mu Qinger has overestimated Yi Tian in her heart, but there are still people who overestimate him more than her. It turns out to be the law of space. Even I looked at it twice before I was sure. He has mastered the use of the law of space. He is invincible among primary gods. In Yangcheng, in the royal ferry boat, the flawless fairy Shadow's eyes rippled, as if sighing, if he can succeed, it may be her best destination. I don't think so. The little loli with silver hair and twin ponytails on the throne beside her swung her chubby little carrot legs and muttered. The fairy Shadow was slightly stunned, as if confused. You may not be worthy of Brother Yi Tian. Maybe it's because I don't want to discourage you. The little loli snorted. Ah, why do you say that? The fairy Shadow's tone trembled slightly. Feeling, the little loli said firmly. Feeling. Shenying was speechless and choked. Feeling. Can such a thing be done by feeling? Just wait and see. I have never missed a feeling. Little loli said confidently. Yuanji, seeing that the opponent dared not act rashly, Yi Tian suddenly changed his mind and said, are you still going to fight? If not, I can make an exception and let you surrender, but you have to lose 10 times the bet. 10 times, why don't you go and rob? A genius cursed. His parents were only 9-star middle-level gods. The family assets were only a few $100 million, and the liquid funds were only tens of millions. If he directly compensated Yi Tian with 10 million, he might as well die. If he really compensated 10 million divine crystals, his parents would probably want to slap him to death. If Yi Tian reduced it by half, he could barely accept it, but 10 times was really unacceptable. You have to pay a price for doing something wrong. Yi Tian said mercilessly. He wants to kill people and destroy their hearts. Tsunade, as one of the 3 legendary ninjas who participated in the Ninja World War, immediately understood what Yi Tian meant. The battle of the gods' domain is a life and death struggle, and the winner is the king. Giving them the opportunity to buy their lives with money is because it is more painful for them than the annihilation of the entire race of the gods' domain, and it also maximizes Yi Tian's interests. Otherwise, why would he be polite to them? You can never expect the enemy to have any mercy on you. These guys don't understand such a simple truth, and they still call themselves geniuses. On the side, Mu Qinger thought about it and understood Yi Tian's deep meaning. She sighed. Spending money to buy life is more painful than death. Although it can preserve strength, their reputation will be ruined. The key is that after compromising once, there will be unlimited times. Without an invincible heart, it will be difficult to achieve great success in the future. If you don't spend money to buy your life, the whole army will be annihilated, the divine domain will be severely damaged, and you will be disabled if you don't die. Yi Tian, don't be too proud. At worst, we can go together. At this time, Mu Busho spoke again. He was unwilling to fail, and finally could only think of this shameless method. But he seemed to have forgotten that Yi Tian said from the beginning that they could go together. Haha, if you can't win in a round-robin fight, you have to gang up on them. Can you have some shame? Who refused to gang up on them at the beginning? Tsunade was furious when she saw Mu Busho was going to gang up on Yi Tian. She wasn't worried that Yi Tian couldn't win, because she didn't know how strong Yi Tian was, but the other party's behavior of going back on his word and not wanting to be ashamed was really disgusting. It's really embarrassing, this distant relative. Mu Qinger supported her forehead, feeling that it was really embarrassing to have such a relative. But because Tsunade's attention was not on her side, she didn't hear Mu Qinger's words clearly, otherwise she would definitely ask her where this wild relative came from. Haha, if you want to fight, just do it. Anyway, you are the ones who are embarrassed. Yi Tian was not surprised at Mu Busho's desperate behavior, but he just didn't want them to waste their time. Next, he was going to get serious. HMPH, do you think we will be as useless as Lin Tianyi and the others? Mu Busho didn't think, didn't believe, and would never admit that Yi Tian had the ability to beat so many of them together. Together, they are enough to defeat some one-star gods. Wait, just when Mu Busho was about to let the people around him rush forward, several geniuses with indifferent expressions stood on the other side behind him. Lu Xuan, what do you mean? Mu Busho took a look and found that it was the descendants of the Lu family, a large family headed by Nandu. Like him, they were related to the royal family, but he didn't expect to be stabbed in the back by his own people. Although the nobles in Nandu and the nobles in the imperial capital have always been at odds. Our goals are different. You want to defeat Yi Tian, and we just want to see if he has the qualifications. Now his strength is undoubtedly the first genius of the contemporary era. If he is not as good as others, it is better to admit defeat as soon as possible. Lu Xuan said righteously. Hypocrisy. Mu Busho snorted coldly. No matter how hypocritical I am better than you who are shameless. A genius behind Lu Xuan snorted coldly. If we can't win the round-robin battle, we will lose this God Realm battle. Those who can't afford to lose will never win. Besides, do you really think Yi Tian is joking when he asked us to fight together? Lu Xuan doesn't care about the success or failure of the moment. If he loses, he has to admit it. Besides, he doesn't think he can win the next gang fight. The gap is too big, and Yi Tian is too calm. He really can't lose again. If they can't beat Yi Tian, they lose the round-robin battle, and Yi Tian makes history. They become the background of history, which is embarrassing enough. If they still lose in the gang fight, they will not be the background, but the pillar of shame. He now decisively stands up to surrender and admit defeat, and pays 10 times the compensation. He is more or less graceful and saves a little face. He is a character. Yi Tian thinks that although Lu Xuan's behavior is selling out his teammates, he doesn't sell his teammates and keeps them for the new year. Besides, they are not the same kind of people. He can judge the situation and dare to admit failure, which is also a character. The Lu family is a royal family. 10 million divine crystals are really nothing. Even if I forcibly destroy Lu Xuan's divine domain, with their background, they will not make Lu Xuan a cripple. Now that he has voluntarily admitted defeat, there is no need for me to break my promise. Since Yi Tian agreed to surrender with 10 times the compensation, he did not intend to go back on his word. He was not as untrustworthy as the other party. Since you admit defeat, then pay the bet. Yi Tian said lightly. Okay, but I want to pay several times the bet to help several classmates from Nandu. Lu Xuan transferred 10 million divine crystals to Yi Tian without hesitation, and also paid several times the compensation. Together with the bets of several geniuses from big families around him, he compensated Yi Tian with 100 million divine crystals. 100 million divine crystals. Yi Tian sighed slightly in his heart, and he became a billionaire in an instant. Although it was a little early compared to the wealthy families with hundreds of billions of assets, others were a family, and he was a person, and his assets were extremely rich. Yi Tian, this time you really let us see that there is a world beyond the world. Goodbye. Lu Xuan looked at Yi Tian with some admiration, bowed slightly, and then led the people from Nandu to disconnect the connection with the divine domain. Haha, this guy. Yi Tian could see that Lu Xuan admired him in the end, and he was a person who could take it and let it go. Chinger. Tsunade was slightly puzzled. Why is Lu Xuan so generous? He must be very sorry for the money, and he helped a few more people. The Lu family has always been righteous, and they can be said to be the head of the Nandu nobles. Naturally, they have to act like a big brother. Although Lu Xuan is the direct descendant of the clan leader, his talent is actually very average in the family. His 2 younger brothers are much better than him, but he has a lot of say in the family because the elders in the clan like his demeanor. Mu Qinger recalled the situation of the Lu family and said, besides, Lu Xuan also said that his challenge this time was actually a test, which is true. Many of the geniuses here are pawns of big families. The main purpose is to test Yi Tian's strength. Lu Xuan and his friends will not participate in the real selection. It's a pity. In the age of gods, the strong are respected. Lu Xuan is not comparable to Yi Tian after all. Lu Xuan, Nandu, we will remember this account. Mu Busho was very angry. After Lu Xuan and other Nandu geniuses stabbed him in the back, there were only 38 people left on his side. And the core combat power is half less. There are less than 5 geniuses who can be compared with Lin Tianyi and Nangong Yu, including Mu Busho. Compared with Lin Tianyi and Nangong Yu, 13 of the remaining 33 geniuses are inferior, and the remaining 20 are more than 1 level behind. The weakest ones are just at the level of killing Zhao Xiaorui in seconds. And the worst thing is that many of these geniuses are inclined to surrender, but they can't afford to pay 10 times the bet, and their morale is very low. It's really difficult. Mu Busho is now in a dilemma. Should he fight to the death? If he loses the gang fight, then his end will definitely be miserable, because he is the initiator of the gang fight. Losing is not just a matter of him, but also affects the family's reputation. It is not impossible to be expelled from the family. Don't know what to do. Let me help you make a decision. Yi Tian doesn't intend to let these remaining geniuses go. Since they are given a chance not to surrender, then all of them will stay. Ninjutsu. Impure World Reincarnation. Yi Tian formed a seal with one hand, and then slapped the air fiercely with one palm. Boom boom boom. At the bottom of the metaverse, a vortex of void appeared, and in the black hole-like vortex, the Hades altar burst into colorful divine light. With the power of the Hades altar, Yi Tian can consume the divine crystal stone and directly resurrect the dead Konoha ninja. However, with the forbidden technique of impure world reincarnation, with the blessing of the Hades altar, there is no need for divine crystal stone, nor for living people as sacrifices, only the soul mark and blood of the Konoha ninja. Therefore, under the shining of the divine light, 5,000 Konoha ninjas were reborn from the Hades in the Hades, and their aura was one level stronger than when they were alive. Even Yi Tian didn't expect this. The Hades altar does not have the function of strengthening, but only converts the resurrected creatures into the undead. By the way, it is the divinity of Hades, and the divinity of Hades strengthens them. Yi Tian paused and thought of the key point. The godhood of Hades can bless creatures in the underworld. The reincarnated Konoha ninjas are not resurrected in essence, but are a special kind of underworld creatures. At this moment, the godhood of Hades that Yi Tian realized in the underworld altar played an extremely critical role. This underworld altar is really a good deal. At this moment, facing the 5,000 reincarnated Konoha elites, Mu Busho and other geniuses are trembling. The combat power of this divine race is comparable to that of gods. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.